Hello, testing, 1, 2. Is this thing on? Testing. How's the audio? Can you guys hear me? Welcome to another show. See me after fucking hell. Don't make me open this with my teeth. I gotta stop doing that. Welcome back to the podcast, the only one in Canada. Believe it or not, you can try looking for another one. You won't find one. It is impossible. Job, why you in prison? It does have that kind of prison feel to it, doesn't it? The podcast is called See Me After Class, and in a way, school was like prison to me, so I thought it was thematically relevant. That's cool, right? We're all in prison together. Isn't that nice? So thank you for tuning in for another podcast. The title of the last one was My Podcast Sucks. Because it does. And I thought for a while about why it sucks. And it's definitely going to suck if I just spend every episode saying how much it sucks. So I don't want to do that anymore. Part of the problem is I don't do enough prep for the podcast. I think that's one reason why it sucked. Or it continues to suck. And it's not that I didn't want to do prep. I used to do a lot of prep, but I did too much prep before. And then when I would try to say what I had written down, it just came off as like a stiff, awkward mess. And so it's like, okay, well maybe the answer is less prep, where I just have I'll list ideas, point form of okay, that's a topic that's funny. I'll just talk about that organically on the podcast. So I won't flesh out prose. I'm going to say exactly this thing. And then the podcast starts but then it felt too rehearsed. If it's all written out in sentences, it's I can't remember exactly what I wrote, right? So the trick is to write it point form, and then I have it point form in my head. So then when I'm on camera, I'm forced to articulate it into prose on the fly. You know what I mean? So if I do no prep, it's if I just list topics in one word, Jeffrey Epstein or whatever, right? And then I come on the podcast, and then you ever see that Family Guy bit where Peter and his friends, they have a band, and then they go to prison together, and then it's they're performing, their band is performing for the prisoners on stage, and then they're 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's a pause, and then Peter's oh my god, we don't know any songs. It's kind of like that, where it's just hello, welcome to the See Me After Class podcast. Awkward pause. Gee, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to say. I know what to talk about, but it's I haven't thought enough about the details of each topic. So it's just when my mind goes to grab for something, it's I don't know what to talk about first. Anyway, we're back again, and I did some prep. I've got a bunch written, but not I separated it into, I want to give this podcast more structure too. That's the thing. So I have jokes, and then just stuff that I thought was funny, a 5-word summaries that embed some kind of funny idea about something that relates to current events, right? And then after that is so jokes, and then we're gonna do I'm gonna show you guys a new episode of Bytes that I made. So I'll show you guys that on the podcast. It's not available yet, so this is the only place you'll ever be able to watch it. Wow. You guys are so lucky. So we'll do that. And then stories, like personal stories, but I don't have a lot written there right now just because not a lot has happened to me. I've just been working a bunch on content. And so, okay, so the structure is jokes, premiere, which is this new Bytes that I made. I'll show you guys that in like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or something. We'll just let people trickle in, and then I'll talk about some stuff that I think is funny and stupid or whatever, and then I'll show you guys that episode, and then we'll come back, and then from there we can do like an encore where we go through it again, but I can like participate this time, and I can like pause it and talk about the process of making it if you guys want. I mean, whatever. If not, it's fine. But once the premiere is done, we come back and then we talk about more jokes and stupid stuff, that's happened that we can make fun of. And then thoughts is another category. So this isn't necessarily funny stuff, but just like stuff that I think is interesting. We can skip this part entirely. I mean, if it's not entertaining, but I think there's some interesting stuff to talk about. Some stuff I have written down here is the stuff going on at Rooster Teeth. That's one thing. It's like the Glassdoor reviews and the recent layoffs that were announced today. I have tips for surviving panic attacks for people who, if there's anybody in this chat who has panic attacks, I can relate, and I can give you some tips to deal with them. I got another thing about the like black female 007. Some people on Twitter were calling me childish because I thought it was lame that they were doing that. That means I'm racist if I have a problem with it. Racist and sexist, both. And some other stuff, Gillette, and the Chappelle and Bill Burr specials, and the new Joker movie and stuff like that. So that's some stuff to talk about. And then the next thing is entertainment. So like movies and games that I want to like mention, like cool stuff that I've seen or played recently, So we can talk about that. And then after that is submissions. So like fans who have like sent things. Like I got one guy who sent like I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but like on 4chan in particular, there used to be these like copy pasta stories about people meeting Ryan Gosling. And it's like, it's written in such a way that it's fake, but it's like, it's the story that's written is so bizarre that it's like, maybe it's true. Anyway, somebody wrote a story like that about me. And so that was, and he wrote it with the intent of it being shared on the podcast. So I thought I'd do that. And then I got a really old submission that I've always been meaning to do, but I keep forgetting. Is somebody made a quiz? If we have time, we'll get to that. It's somebody made like a, like a bingo card, but like every bingo space is some trope that I do on my podcast. Anyway. If I have time and I can find that email, it was a while ago, but if I can find it, we'll do that. And then throughout the stream, we'll do like super chats, and if people send stuff through Streamlabs, and then commentary, so I can do a commentary on something. I want to do like one of these days. I want to do streams dedicated to entire like old seasons of the show and just go through it episode by episode. And that'll give me a chance to like verify the quality of like all the legacy episodes that I re-uploaded to my channel. Because like some of them might have really bad interlacing problems and I might re-upload them. I'll give them a pass-through handbrake. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's a software that lets you compress and fix videos in certain ways. But anyway, that's a thing. And yeah, then we'll close the show after that. So what do you guys think? Does that sparkle with all the girls? Do you like that? Is that a good idea? Some structure. So let's start with some jokes. How many viewers are we at, actually? If someone doesn't mind. Oh, great. We're at bad stream health. That's perfect. Thanks, YouTube. 110 watching. Wow. Okay. I think the stream is fine, though. Is it lagging for people? YouTube says it's bad, but YouTube is not very truthful when it comes to this. It keeps saying it's bad, but when it isn't. No problems. Okay, yeah. It seems to be good for most people, so if you are having problems, just try refreshing your browser and the lag might go away. Okay. So, I feel like we've probably kind of reached our viewer peak already. Do you guys want me to like start off by talking about stuff, or should we just get right into the new Bytes episode? Because there's not really any point in waiting for more people to trickle in. It seems like everyone's here already pretty much. So I can just play that episode right away if you guys want. Does that sparkle with all the girls? Talk about stuff? Okay. We can talk about stuff first. Show Bytes. Oh, there it is. A flood of one thing. I say, okay, let's do that thing. And then it's a flood, inevitable flood of the other thing. Well, let's just talk for like 5-10 minutes. And if any new people come in, they'll come in. And then we'll do the episode, okay? One of the biggest problems that I have is that I need to relax, you know, because that's how the funny comes out. I'm too like, so you can hear it in my breath, in my chest. I'm holding all this anxiety in my upper chest, and I shouldn't. I don't do that normally. It's just because I know that I'm on camera and hundreds of fucking people are watching me right now, and it's weird. Even though I'm in a room by myself, like a psycho. But I just gotta relax, you know. Okay. So, what's the first thing? Let's talk about season 8, where I'm at with season 8. So, I'm gonna need some more time with episode 14. A lot of it is edited, but I've got more editing to do still. I took some time away from it, to be honest. Sometime after I did the last stream, I was overwhelmed by the amount of editing I had to do, and I took a few days away from it. That was after I learned, like I was still waiting for voiceover at that time as well, and I still am. But I've heard from the person I'm waiting for VO from, and that was just the other day, so I'm expecting it this weekend, but I'm not sure yet. I can't confirm that. I've been told hopefully this weekend, maybe not, but that's the ETA that I've been given. So once I get that, then I can render the first part of 8:14. And then I'll upload that for my Patreonies. Everyone supporting me on Patreon, they can watch that. And then once the whole episode is done, I'll just put it public on YouTube for everyone. It was Elizabeth, the voice of Kylie and Claire. I don't want to put her on the spot, but like people can do the math and figure out that that's what, I mean, once the part comes out, you'll see like what characters are in it, and then you can make an assumption like, oh, it was probably her causing the delay, and it was. But she's sick. So she's sick, and she's been working a shitload. She's been really busy. I gave her the material as far in advance as I could, so she's had it, her sides of the script for a while, but she's been really busy, and she's been sick, and her sickness is affecting her voice, so that I'd rather she was, her voice was good if she's going to do like voiceover work for the show. So just waiting for that to come in, and I got no reason to think that she doesn't want to work on the show or anything. She's just been sick and busy, and she said that I'll get VO this weekend. So I was like, awesome. I hope you feel better, and just let me know. So we'll see. So yeah, still working on 814, but I'm working on it. It has my attention, and I'll get it out eventually. You just got to give me some time. But in the meantime, I don't want to leave you guys without content. So I took some time away from 814 to work on developing a string of Bytes episodes to keep the content coming and to keep you guys laughing. And I just finished one, a Bytes number 26. I'm not doing the seasons anymore. There's been like 3 seasons of Bytes, right? But I was doing seasons of the Bytes when I was working under Machinima, but there's not really a need for the season format. I'll still keep the season format for the story, because it's like season 5, 6, 7, 8. Each of those seasons are about something individually, But the Bytes, it's just like they don't have to be split up into seasons, because they are what's the word? Self-contained episodes. They're not serialized, so they don't need to be split up into seasons, right? So this is Bytes number 26 I just finished, and that's the one I'm going to show you pretty soon on live on this podcast, the only place you can see it. Like I said, you guys are very, very lucky to be able to see this very rare and awesome video. What's the beer for the day? I don't know if you noticed. I mean, it's Red Racer, but it's like a Red Racer variety pack. So like you get a different brew from a different region of Canada with each can. And I just spilled beer on my desk. Awesome. And I don't have a towel. Great. Whatever. I'll just leave it there. I'll clean it up later. Okay. So you know where I'm at with episode 814. I'm still working on it. I'm really excited about it, but I need more time with it. And I've been working on Bytes in the meantime, and I'm gonna get you a bunch of short videos, one of which I'm gonna show you today. So yeah. What else should we talk about? Is there anything pressing that anybody wants me to address? Or should I just go through my list here? How's everyone doing in the chat? You guys good? Is there anything immediate that I should address? Bite the foam. Except biting the foam and postmodernism. Super chats are depressing. You should read them. They're depressing. Why? All right, yeah, super chats. That's a good idea. Let's start off with some super chats. So let's go to super chats. J Meister 25 says update on Arby and the Chief season 8. Well, I just told you, so there you go. I'm working on it, As soon as I get that voiceover I'm missing, I can put out part A. So, I mean, well, once I get the voiceover, I'll need like a day with it, and then I'm gonna release it on a scheduled day after the voiceover is received. So, the idea is to put something out every Saturday. I'm trying to get a schedule going. So, like every Saturday, I want to put out like either a podcast or a bite or a part of 814 or 815 or any of the main episodes to follow that one. And so yeah, Saturday mornings. I'm going for that Saturday morning thing, you know, when kids like me used to watch cartoons. I don't know if that's a thing anymore. You know, I guess it is. It would be. Kids waking up on Saturday with no school, just watching cartoons. It's just the cartoons are different now. You know, it's not like when I was growing up, when it was like, I mean, Cartoon Network's still around, but the whole programming lineup is different now. In my day, it was Dexter's Laboratory and what else? Johnny Bravo, and then the YTV stuff, Dragon Ball Z and all that. But yeah. So super chats. That's what we were doing. I got lost there. Okay. So thank you, JMeister25. Appreciate it, man. Chris Mayan says, "Hey, good to see you. Been making any music?" I haven't, but I want to. I got an idea actually. I want to make an album that's just like electronic beach chill out tunes. Like, you know, the music I made for the podcast, the music that played in the intro before we started just now. I want to make more tracks like that. I want to make a whole album of like maybe 12 tracks or something on one album of just music kind of like that, where it's for driving at night and chilling out, you know? So I'm excited about that. I really like doing that. It's like fun. The process is fun. That's like, I make music to like unwind. That's doesn't even feel like work for me. But so yeah, that's something I want to get on. I've been busy with writing and editing just now. But I want to do John Wave. Yes, there you go. A whole new genre all to myself. So yeah, that's what I want to work on. No title ideas yet. No. John, what gear do you use? I don't know what you mean. What gear are you referring to? If anybody has questions about my setup and my equipment for certain things, I'll tell you, but you just need to specify it for me. Job Wave, yes. Okay, what's next? Oh, dude, Joe Rogan just had Dan Aykroyd on his podcast. I get alerts whenever Joe puts up a new podcast. It looks like he just had Dan Aykroyd on his show. That'll be cool. I'll watch that later. Do you ever see his movie, Nothing But Trouble? It's fucking hilarious. It's made in the 90s, I think. But just check that out if you haven't seen it. It's a fucking hilarious movie. Did you watch the new Dave Chappelle? Yes. The new Chappelle special was great. Laughed my ass off. And Bill Burr's Paper Tiger was great too. I really enjoyed those. Did you watch Bernie Sanders on Joe Rogan? Yes, I did. And I was actually excited about that. And I had my opinions on Bernie. I still do. I thought he was kind of a crazy old man who's appealing at the end of his lifespan to a bunch of millennial babies who want the government to do everything for them, which some people have objections to, probably in this chat right now, but we can disagree, right? That's okay. But I saw him on Joe's podcast, and I liked him. I thought he was, if so, like, even if I don't agree with somebody, if somebody's like nice and affable and doesn't interrupt and like is cool to talk to, then it's like whatever, like I'm quite happy to listen to anybody, no matter how much I disagree with them, as long as they're nice. That's the thing, and not a dick. People can disagree, but everyone can be nice. Everyone can be kind to each other, But anyway. All right, on with the super chats. Thank you, Chris Mayan. Really appreciate it, man. Played in the background says, missed you, buddy. FYI, my feature movie premiere went really well. Made $2,500 in merch alone. Wow. And spoke with representatives of networks. Might be hiring you someday soon. XD. Love you lots, man. Thanks for changing my life with Arby. Well done, dude. Good for you. Dude made a feature movie, had it premiered, and now he's getting a bunch of attention. That gives me some faith in the film festival circuit, which I am so cynical of, because the whole film festival circuit to me is just a bunch of ego, pretentiousness, virtue signaling, moral posturing, Anyway, I got my issues with it, but someone like if you can make a movie and then, I don't know what your movie's about, but I assume it's not some kind of ideologically loaded SJW thing. I assume like you just made a movie that you were passionate about, and so that's the thing. Even if a movie is like can be considered SJW content, if it's a genuine attempt, if that person is making a movie that they truly believe in, then it's like all power to you. It's the dishonest people that I have a problem with, really, where it's like they know better, but they'll make a movie anyway that appeals to like a broad political movement because they want to fit in, and they're too afraid to say what they think. I have a problem with that sort of stuff. But if somebody makes a movie where, it's honestly what they think and they're trying to get a message out there, something that they really believe in, then it's like, whether I think you're right or wrong ideologically, like at the core of it, I admire anybody just putting themselves out there, whatever it is you think. Anyway, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. So thank you, Played in the Background. Really appreciate it. Congratulations to you. Well done. And I wish you buckets of success. And keep making movies, man. A lot of people say they're going to make movies, but they don't do it. And you're out there making the fucking thing, so good job. So thank you, man. Moving on to other ones. Hey there, it's Jesse. Says, take me shackles. Been watching since I was 10. I heart you. I heart you too, man. Thank you. Really appreciate it, guys. Brymax says, so when will there be an Arby and the Chief, but it's dubbed with Half-Life sound effects video? Of all things, why are you stoked? Why are you waiting on that? Why does there need to be Half-Life sound effects? Does it have to be Half-Life 1 or can it be any Half-Life game? Not that there's that many Half-Life games, but there's Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2, and then Half-Life 2 Episode 1 and 2. And then there was supposed to be a third one, but not only a third episode, but also a Half-Life 3, but then there was neither. And I don't know what's going on with Valve. I mean, they still got Steam going, but maybe they'll go to the wayside in favor of Epic or whatever new thing comes along. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, that seems like a weird thing to be stoked about, but I got no plans to have a version of Arby and the Chief, but it's dubbed with Half-Life sound effects. Sorry, man. But I appreciate your super chat, dude. Thank you. Rivers727 says, talk about the Cuck trailer job. Oh, boy. The trailer for Cuck. It's a movie. A movie made this year. And it's about some white and celibate racist dude who sits alone in his underwear in front of his computer lurking 4chan, and then he decides he's going to massacre a bunch of people. I assume that's the plot. I don't know a lot about the plot, but I assume that's the plot. And the whole joke is that it's starring me because the name of the movie is Cuck, and I'm a cuck. So funny. Look how fucking amused I am right now. Anyway. Yeah, so I don't know too much about it. So I don't have too much to say on it. But thank you, Rivers727. Oh, yeah, we got to talk about Joker, too. And the weird thing that's going on with that movie. Where it's like... I don't know, it's like... That movie is giving critics a stroke. Where half the critics are praising it for being a good movie. And then the other half is like... condemning it for being some kind of... incelibate terrorist recruitment video. And it's like, what the fuck, man? I feel like it's one of those movies that's being interpreted easily in two different ways by different audiences, depending on who you show it to. There's a few movies like that, like you know what I'm talking about, like Fight Club, V for Vendetta, Scarface. Movies that are like satires to some degree. Or Wolf of Wall Street, that's another one. Where it's like it's being appreciated by different groups of people for different reasons entirely. You know, Scarface, for example, guys will worship that movie, Scarface, and Tony Montana in particular, just because he like shoots a bunch of people. But like that's not the real reason to like that movie. I love Scarface. It's one of my favorite fucking movies ever. But I don't think Tony Montana is this awesome, great guy. He murders people. But there's respectable things about him, you know? He's a man of his balls and his word, and he don't break neither for nobody, you know? There's something to be admired about that, even though he does things that are like, you can't really be on board with. But what's good about Scarface isn't so much Tony Montana himself, but it's the archetype that he symbolizes, you know, of like the pursuit of the American dream. And then he goes straight to the top, and it's that Icarus story of flying too close to the sun, and then he burns in the end. And it's like, that's why that movie's so good. It's like archetypal in that way, where it's like, this is about something profound and ancient, about like people who have the ambition to make it all the way up to the top, but you got to be careful. Otherwise, you'll get burned, and then someone else will usurp your position of power. So Scarface is one example, and then Fight Club. I love Fight Club, by the way. I'm not shitting on these movies. Fight Club's amazing. But you know, there's a bunch of people who will watch that movie, and they'll watch it from the perspective of like the fighters, who are just like, yeah, fuck society, fuck capitalism, blow it all up. And it's just like, that's not the reason to enjoy that movie. That's not why it's a good movie. They're missing the satire of it, right? And that's the same thing happened with Wolf of Wall Street, right? Great ass movie. I love that movie, and I love it more every time I watch it. I've seen it like 4 or 5 times now. But you'll have people watching that, particularly people who work in Wall Street, like bankers, stockbrokers, who, like, famously, when that movie was doing its premiere circuit, like, you'd have bankers who would watch that movie and they would cheer at all the wrong parts. Like, if they're fucking some chick in the bathroom, or like that part where Leo sticks a knife in his couch cushions and he's looking for his secret cocaine stash, and they'll like cheer because it's like, yeah, I used to do that. That's where I keep my secret cocaine stash. And it's like, dude, you're not supposed to be doing all this shit. Like, come on, like, you're cheering for the wrong reasons. But anyway, that's, you know, the kind of movie I'm talking about. And then V for Vendetta, the whole anonymous thing, right? People take that and they run with it in the wrong direction, where it's just like, yeah, we are Legion, and then everybody had a fucking Guy Fawkes mask, including me. But I have a Guy Fawkes mask just because I find it interesting what that mask represents, and I like that movie, but not for the reasons that a bunch of people do, where it's just like a rallying cry, some kind of recruitment video, again, an anti-capitalist recruitment video or something. You know what I mean? Not that I think. I mean, I think capitalism is the best of a bad situation, but I certainly don't think it's a flawless system. But if you're considering the alternatives, I don't know. It seems like the way to go. I'm sure there's people who disagree with me, but whatever. Everybody's allowed to have their own opinion. So yeah, those are those movies, and Joker's coming out soon. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm not going to go see that Cuck movie because it looks amateur as fuck, to be honest. I watched the trailer and I was like, ugh. It looks like such an amateur production. Like I saw shit like this in film school, you know? It feels like I'm watching a film school assignment. You know? So I'm just not interested. But anyway, let's move on to other super chats here. Thank you, Rivers727. I appreciate it, man. Mac Charger XD says, John, will you make Vaporwave tracks too? I don't understand the subtle differences between Vaporwave and something like what I'm already doing. You know, like, what's the difference between what I've already made and Vaporwave? I'm not really sure. Because I've already made tracks that are like about chilling out. And it's like, is that Vaporwave? Or is there some extra kind of layer to it that I'm missing? Anyway. I'd be interested to hear about that. Thanks, Meg Charger. Andy Berryman says, blow yourself, dude. Okay. Delicious. Thanks, Andy. Thanks for the reminder. I forgot to blow myself today. Johnny Cared says, hey, John, glad to see you, baby. Question from me is, where did you buy Arby and Chief action figures? Always wanted them since 2008. Keep up the hard work. Thanks, man. You just got to get lucky on the internet, man. I'll tell you what to search for. Type into Google, Arbiter or Master Chief action figure Joyride Series 2. It's specifically the Series 2 line of action figures from Joyride. So Halo 2 Series 2 is where... Oh, no, wait. Master Chief is Series 1 and Arbiter is Series 2. I think that's how it works. But they're both Halo 2 figurines from Joyride. But they're different series. Chief is 1, Arbiter's 2. So just the best option is just go on Google, search, and then click the shopping tab. And it'll give you listings from like whatever store has it. But I can't guarantee that a store is going to have it. Like my mom got me my action figures, and she was lucky when she typed it into Google and found something, you know. And then I popularized it, and then everyone's looking for those figures, and now they're sold out everywhere. So you have me to thank. You're welcome. You look like you're streaming from jail. Yes, I know. That's what I'm going for. I like the brick wall look. I think it's cool. Isn't it cool? Is it not cool? I thought it was cool. Thank you, Johnny Cared. Really appreciate it, man. I gotta pee again. I'm gonna finish these chats off, then I'm gonna go pee, and then when I come back, we'll do the Bytes episode. I'll show you guys the new thing. Tarkus says, "Hey John, I've been a fan for about 7 years now, and it's been quite a ride. I hope you're doing well, man, and keep up the good work." I'm doing great. I've been doing really good, actually. My mood has been good. It wasn't for a while, but I've been doing pretty good recently. So thank you. Yeah. And yeah, I hope you're doing well too, and thanks a lot for that. I appreciate it, man. I'm doing well. Max Johnson 05 says, "Hey Job, currently moving. Here is my lunch money." Give me your lunch money, or I'll beat you up. Give me that. Mine now. Good luck with the move, loser. I'm just kidding. Thank you. And good luck with the moving. I know that's not fun. I'm getting the surgery, says Sue. So, who you voting for this election? I don't know yet, to be honest. I need to look into it more. I've looked into it embarrassingly little, just because I find Canadian politics so boring compared to American politics. But the big deal right now seems to be climate change. And I have this suspicion. I'm sure there's people in the chat who are going to disagree with me, but I do think climate change is a problem, but I feel like it's being overblown. Like things so often are in politics, especially. It's like we've got this doomsday fucking counter where it's like in 10 years we're all going to spontaneously combust. And it's like, I don't know about that, but I do recognize that we should be limiting our effect on the environment if we can. But the thing is that most of the effect on climate change is coming from the energy sectors, you know, and industry. So it's like I'm hearing all these voices from, like, you know, just citizens who are like, save energy, like be careful about leaving the lights on, and you know, turn things off when you're not using it. And I mean, you should do those things, but it's like what we're doing is a drop in the bucket compared to the fucking energy sectors, you know. And it's like that's where the change really needs to happen. And I don't like Trudeau, but I am pro pipeline, just because whether you have a pipe, I know there's probably a bunch of people who are going to have a problem with me thinking that too, but it's like whether or not the pipeline is there, that oil is going to get moved one way or another, you know, whether it's through the pipeline or through a bunch of, you know, smoke spewing trucks. And so it's like, what's the better thing? Maybe it's the better option to move it through a fucking pipeline. So I don't know. Maybe that makes me stupid. I don't know, but I'm just saying what I think. And I would rather people say what they think and be wrong rather than be ideologues who are so desperate to fit in that they're afraid of saying something that's going to make them look stupid or whatever. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's just that's what I think. Nobody has to fucking agree with me. Yes, you do. Agree with me or else. I gotta get a gun periodically pointed at the camera and then force you guys to think what I think or else. Anyway. So thank you for that. I'm getting the surgery. I don't know who I'm voting for yet, but when the time comes that we get our ballots and we're supposed to pick a party or whatever, then I'll do some more research. But right now, if I'm honest, I just don't give a fuck. You know? Maybe that makes me lame. But, you know, I just don't care. It's all just so exhausting. Anyway. General OFG says, John, I'm starting to think you're peeing so much because of all the beer you drink every podcast. That may have something to do with it. You may be onto something there. Thing is, if I don't drink the beer, then it's that much harder for me to loosen up. And that's the key to this podcast not fucking sucking dick, is me loosening up, you know. And thank God I've achieved that just now on some level. And hopefully we'll get some laughs out of this podcast yet. I know it hasn't been a riot so far, but I hope you guys are entertained so far for what it's worth. Anyway, thank you, General OFG. I appreciate it. Bully Scholarship says, Job, I just opened the stream. Are you doing this live from your death camp? It's amazing how much of an effect something as simple as this can have. Like, this isn't even the whole wall. It's just a part of the wall. But from your perspective, it fills the entire camera frame. So in most people's heads, when they watch this footage, it's like the whole room looks like this. And they just imagine me sitting right now in a little cement prison. When it's not like that, it's actually a much nicer room than that. But that's the power of cinema for you, you know? Anyway, thanks, General OFG. I'm having a lot of fun broadcasting right now from my death camp. Thanks, dude. Love the background. Just kidding. Keep up the great work and the edgy humor. Thanks, man. Okay. So thank you, all you guys, for those super chats. I'm going to go piss. I'll be right back. And then we'll come back. And then we'll do the new Bytes episode. Does that sound good to everybody? I hope so. All right. So let me just go on standby. And we'll be right back. Hello, and we're back. Did I wash my hands? I guess you guys are just going to have to figure that out for yourselves. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. What a mystery. Anyway, audio, no it isn't. Fuck off, you trolls. Audio is not off. You guys can hear me just fine, can't you? People can hear me, right? Because I'm seeing the fucking audio. I'm seeing the sound bar go up and down, so it must be working. Tee-hee. Yeah, you fucking trolls. So, fucking hell. You know, I was dicking around for 5 hours just fixing podcast shit. It's a fucking shitload to keep in mind before I do these streams. And there's so many little fucking things to tweak and manage in order to get all this working, like all the overlays and the Photoshop and re-rendering stuff and tweaking the blocking of the camera and framing things right. And I spent a long time setting this up, but thank fuck I finished it. And here we are recording another podcast. And we just finished a bunch of super chats, and now I can show you guys the new Bytes episode that I made if you guys want to see that. Are you guys ready for that? Do you guys want to see a new episode of Arby and the Chief Bytes? Is that what you guys want to see? Are you ready? You bet, John. Yes. Okay. Let's do it. So I am going to... Oh, see what I did here, too? So I have this activity mode, and I have this layout now. It's way better, right? The links... So all my links and my corner logo are at the bottom, and then you got me at the left, and then it's just all nicely proportioned, I feel. But anyway. Okay, so this... I'm not going to be on camera for when I show you this new episode. I'm just... Although if you guys want me to play it again, the second time that I play it, it can be like this, where I'm here, and then I can talk through the process of making this particular episode. Some of you probably saw it already. I put it on my Patreon for like the early access people. Everybody has early access on Patreon. Like anybody who supports me on Patreon at any tier has like an early access thing. So whenever I make something new, I'm going to put it on there a week in advance of making it public. So some of you have probably already seen this. A bunch of you probably haven't. Yes, even for just $1, everyone on Patreon gets to see stuff early. So I'm just gonna even this isn't gonna go public until Saturday, but I'm gonna show you guys now anyway, because I think regardless of whether or not you're supporting me on Patreon, I think if you're here tuning in, I want you to be able to see this, and I think you'll enjoy it. So, okay, so why don't I just fucking shut up and play this then? So this is called Master Switch. I'm not going to say what it's about or anything. I'm just going to play it, and hopefully you guys like it. So I really hope you guys like it. I worked really hard on it. I think it's funny. So volume is up. I think you guys, I'll turn the desktop audio on, and then you guys should be able to hear this sound. Hopefully. And then so I'm going to turn off my microphone, and then I'm going to play the video. Okay? So here we go. Okay? I'm doing it. So if there's any problems with the volume level, or you can't hear something, you can't see something, just let me know in the chat and I'll fix it, and I'll reset the playback. So, okay, here we go. Bytes number 26.
Oh, can that be? Yes. You're the most console ever. Who's your Master Chief? Man, you're dry as fuck down there today. So many holes. So little times. Your CPU is so fucking hot, Abby. They doesn't call you Xbox for nothing. That was the best. I'll call you later, K-Day. K. Stay beautiful. Man, Sexbone 1X is literally the greatest goat of all time. It should be on a farm, it's so dope. I'm not even biased at all even. The console wars is officially finished. Why the fuck would you ever play anything else ever?
It's got some cool games.
What is that?
Here we go.
What the fuck
I
is
knew
that?
I was having too much fun. Can always rely on you to keep it in check.
Is that phone?
This looked like a phone to you. For a giant maybe.
Well, you're a huge faggot, so I guessed it made sense. So what is it?
That's right, don't let the big white logo and text on the back distract you from asking me. It's not like I'm in the middle of something.
Me. They.
Jesus, you still can't read.
Yeah, cause I doesn't waste times learning things that's not important like Halo.
I sure hope it's the text you're trying to say.
Incomplete glitch. Sounds perfect for you, whatever it is. Nintendo
Switch.
Ah. Disgusted face. Are you fucking serious face? Ah.
What is it?
I fucking touched it.
So?
Get it off. Yuck.
What are you doing?
That was my favorite hands. That was my hand for beating off and finger blasting hot ass chicks.
The first part I believe.
My favorite hands has an AIDS now.
You're being ridiculous. It probably just has cancer.
You have a super cancer probably.
Which do you think it is, super cancer or AIDS?
Both.
Of course.
And it's super AIDS too.
Naturally.
Dude,
yourself.
what the fuck is the matter with you?
The matter with me is I'm having fun. What's the matter with
Fucking
you?
Nintendo. How fucking low can you sunk?
I'd dig to the fucking Earth's core if it got me away from you. But you'd follow me.
You're supposed to play Xbox.
I'm not supposed to
You're
play
a Halo
anything.
toy for Christ's sake.
I'm my own person with my own taste. Right now I have a taste for games other than shooters. You wanna be a militant ex-pro, knock yourself out. Though I'd prefer you keep your fandom to yourself. Like I am.
I doesn't think you heard what I'm saying, do you, Arbiter? I'm telling you right now. And I'm only gonna say this once.
Once too often.
You need to stop liking things that I don't like. Seriously. It's fucking sad, dude. I felt so embarrassed for you. You gotta stop that shit. Right now. Or I'm afraid you're gonna leave me no choice. I'm gonna have to kick your ass, Arbiter. Okay. Tell me you stand under what I just said to you.
I stand under what you're saying, Chief. I just don't care. Not saying you'll succeed, but you do what you gotta do.
But. Well, but sex bone is best bone. How come you hate it so much?
I don't hate Xbox.
You wouldn't catch me dead with that fucking thing in my hands.
Great. Got it all to myself then.
Yeah, until the super AIDS cancer fucking kills you to death.
Let's hope.
So what dog shit are you
Why
playing?
can't you just
Let
leave me alone?
Queef of the Wild, or Super Din Din Wadu Man.
Neither.
So what then?
Indie game.
Like Indiana Joe?
Independent.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
What now?
Independence games is trash, dude.
Not all of them.
Yes, Arbiter. All of them. Every single one.
Like you'd have a fucking clue.
Unlike you, I doesn't have to hate shit to know what it tastes like.
Tastes pretty good to me.
Cause you're a fucking pleb who loves the tastes of shit. Every time. Every fucking time you're playing some kiddie bullshit. It's like you're actually trying to piss me off.
Like you do to me every fucking day. I honestly think this is one of the best consoles ever made. Amazing piece of engineering. Go ahead and laugh. You're the one who's
Jesus Christ. The super AIDS cancer has spread to your brains already.
Well, you don't have to agree with me.
No shit. Why the fuck would I? You're fucking wrong.
Well, that's just like your opinion, man, and I'm allowed to have mine.
Wrong again, Arbiter. It's 2019. Onions are illegal now. You cannot ask or else. There is only the facts. And I have them all. I am literally a fax machine.
What is it you don't like about it exactly? The brilliant controller design? The portability?
Those doesn't matter if you can't even fucking play Halo on a dipshit.
That might not even be the case.
What do you mean?
Well, I've heard it's pretty easy to hack. Play other games on it. Like with emulators. What the fuck are you doing?
Complete sexy hacks.
Don't do that.
You doesn't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I do.
Shut the fuck up. No, you doesn't. It's super complicated. You're not lead enough like me to stand under what I'm doing. There's a bunch of pins
Pins
in
1 and 10, yeah. You're trying to short them. You could fry it.
I'm not gonna fry it. I'm not even hungry. Even though I should fry it cause it's Switch. But if I axe it I might be able to play Halo on it. That would be fucking hits. And actually made the Switch playable.
You can't play Halo on it.
Not yet, but when I axe it, I literally just fucking said. You have never listened.
Even if you did.
There's fucking GameCube and GameStation emulators. Why the fuck wouldn't there be one for Xbox?
There is. For Xbox One anyway. I mean the first Xbox, not the new one. But I don't think it's reliable. The processor's x86. They're hard to emulate properly. Same with the Nvidia chip it uses.
WSD if you the fuck up. I'm trying to play Halo here.
No way. Seriously?
Shit, Arbiter. Does you got any ideas what peoples would pay me if I sold this? Then I could talk more Switches, hacks those ones too and sold them. Then I'd be fucking rich. And all bitches would automatically suck my cock at once.
Yeah, you might almost make as much as your bail.
What the fuck does that supposed to mean?
Those aren't your products to sell.
But I have them right now. And other people's don't. And I want to sold them. And other people's will want them. So why the hell not? How much is it to make one of those commercial posts on Facebooks?
You're not being serious, right?
Attention all sexy gamers, Switch cups, PlayStation cups, but especially the Xbox Chat Master Race. Are you a bad enough dudes to play Halo anywhere? Well, now you can. For the first times ever, Halo has finally come to the Switch. Welcome. Introducing the new Master Switch TM trademark. Hold the throbbing, pulsating power of Halo in both your hands wherever you go. At work, your kid's graduation, grandma's funeral. Wow, cool. Awesome. At last, the portable utility of a hands-hold console without all the gay-ass Nintendo games. Mamma mia. No Prince Zelda. No racist Italy man. Just Halo. The most game ever made. Whenever you want, wherever you want. Whenever you want. I got this shitload in stocks, but supplies is limited for no reason, so ordered yours right now or your day. The Master Switch TM trademark. The most dope console ever for chat gamers. Cause Master Switch does what Nintendo don't. Fuck Nintendo. What is up, YouTube? You're watching the Extreme. The most extreme stream. I'm your host, Master Chief. Thanks for tuning in, my homies. And if you doesn't already know, I got some new merchandise. And it's selling hotcakes. The Master Switch TM trademark tabby. Play Halo anywhere. Man, I can't believe it took me this long to start making money. It's so easy. LOL.
Police! Search for it! Come out where we can see you! Hands in the air!
Oh shit. My prom torrents. Gots to deleted them all. Oh god. There is too many proms.
Police, don't move! Get down!
Okay.
Fast! No sudden movements!
Okay.
Down flat! On your knees! Stomach against the desk!
Okay.
Hands over your head!
Okay.
Behind your back! Interlock your fingers!
I can't.
Target secure!
Are you deified me?
Microsoft Task Force!
I'm streaming.
What's that?
I'm streaming. The camera's recording.
Turn the stream off! Hey! I said get down on your knees!
Sorry.
Flat on your stomach! Stay down!
I doesn't know what I'm supposed to does.
Well, that sounds like a you problem, bitch. Omae wa mou shindere.
Bullshit.
I am Toyota Mitsubishi. I am with Nintendo Task Force. You are coming with me to ancient Japan,
No,
where you
fuck
will
off.
be
I
tried
doesn't wanna
for
went
your
to ancient Japan.
disgraceful copyright
Hell,
crimes.
let go. A John
Stop
Quest is
resisting
that
arrest.
you.
You modify and resell our product.
Ah, no,
Nintendo's
no,
intellectual
no,
property is
ah,
sacrosanct.
no,
Your punishment will be
no.
severe.
Boom. Can you guys hear me? There you go. I know it's not episode 14. I know it's short. It's already over. But I really hope you guys enjoyed that. And there's more to come. I have more. I'm writing more. I have actually a whole other one written already. It's like 95% done, the script. And then I can go right into production on that. But yeah, there you go. There's more to come. And I hope that's satisfying, I hope that's satiating enough between now and when episode 14 comes out. Like if before episode 14 comes out, there's a few more of these, I hope you guys don't mind, because it gives me more time to work on episode 14, and hopefully you guys find it funny. So I hope you enjoyed it. Do you guys want me to play it again and I can watch it? I can participate this time. If not, we can move on to something else if you guys want. No big deal. Looks like everyone liked it. That's good. We need to know what happens next. I don't know. Chiefs in ancient Japan now. As you might have guessed, this isn't exactly canon with season 8. The Bytes are, just think of the Bytes as their own thing. Or the thing is with the Bytes is you can consider the Bytes canon to the story, but you have to acknowledge that the Bytes are an artificial creation within the story of it. So it's like in the story of season 8, later on, it's like they're making these Bytes in a way that the toys are and me are self-aware, and then it's like, even though like the plot is ridiculous, like Chief being taken away from some racist English white guy doing a generic Japanese voice, it's like it's done. It's like the toys know they're making a Byte, and then that Byte comes out, and it's like it's not exactly canon with the story, but it is within the universe. So it's like, if you're looking at the Arby and the Chief story, the story episodes are the stuff that's actually happening, and the Bytes are an artificial creation within the story universe, right? So That's what I mean. I don't know if you know what it is I'm trying to say, but that's the logic behind it. So let's go through it. Let's go through it. Why don't we just do that? Activity, and then I'm gonna rewind it, and I'm just gonna I'm gonna pause it if like something occurs to me, and I'll talk to you about it. Wait, why am I blown the fuck out? I must have missed that. I thought you were Scottish. No, I'm in fact Japanese. Couldn't you tell by my really fluent Japanese accent?
Daddy? Yes.
So I don't know if he's here in the chat right now, but there's a guy named Michael Fuzi who donated kindly his Xbox One to me, and this is his Xbox One featured in the episode. So thank you very much to Michael Fuzi. You're probably not here right now, but I credited him at the end too.
Yes. You are the most console ever. Who's your Master Chief? Man, you're dry as fuck down there today. So many holes. So little times. Your
Yes, I
CPU
turned
is
it
so
down.
fucking hot, Abby. They doesn't call you Xbox for nothing.
So these episodes are made in different passes. So there's the first pass. Well, the first step is recording. Okay, so the script is written, right? And so there's an outline written, and so like every beat of. First of all, okay, I'll start from the very beginning, right? So I'm writing a Byte episode, right? And I know it's going to be split into 3 acts. And then I try to summarize each of those 3 acts in 3 words, right? So the first act of this would be... Actually, you know what? I split it into 5 broad acts. So, and they're not... It's 3 acts, but it's 5 primary beats throughout the whole episode. And it's a 3-act structure, but there's it's a 5-beat story, 5 broad beat story within a basic 3-act paradigm. That's how to think about it. So the 5 beats are: Chief fucks the Xbox One, Chief finds out that Arbiter's playing Switch, Chief finds out that the Switch can be hacked, and he puts Halo on it. Chief makes his hacked Switch commercial, and then Chief gets arrested by Microsoft and Nintendo, right? So those are there's like a three act structure, right? And then there's those 5 basic blocks that I start with, and then like you start breaking it down more and more until you get to the most minute detail, right? So when you have those 5 blocks, you break that down into, I break it down into character beats. So what that means is, so this Chief by himself would be 1 beat, and then when Arbiter comes into the scene, that's a new character beat. And then this applies more to when I'm doing it like a story episode where there's more characters, but when it's just the toys, then the 5 blocks are basically the same as the character beats. So to break that down, it's character beats, and then it's what is it from there? Dramatic blocks. Oh no, it's broken down into scenes, right? So there's the bedroom. Okay, so it's broken down into scenes first. So it's like the bedroom, and then the bedroom, but later. So there's going to be a difference in the color temperature of the shots to like distinguish one scene from another. Like when Chief looks up the Switch hack guide on the computer, and then it cuts to Arbiter in bed, the temperature of the shot changes to indicate that like, okay, this is later in the day, right? Or the next day. right? It's used as a distinguishing feature between one scene and another. So it gets broken down in scenes. So, but all of the scenes are in the bedroom, and then it gets broken down into character beats, and then it gets broken down into dramatic blocks or slash jokes, right? So there's like Chief banging the Xbox, and then the joke with the cigarette. He lights a cigarette and he gives the cigarette to the Xbox. And then like he finds Arbiter with the Switch, and then it's like breaking down that conversation that they have. So it's like they talk about the Switch for a bit, and then Chief goes in to like read the thing, and then the gag with him yanking his hand off and throwing it away because he touched the Nintendo Switch because he's such a fanboy, right? And so those are dramatic blocks, right? And then those get broken down into individual shots. So it's like, what shots do I need? So it's like, first shot, you want to reveal information gradually to the audience and in a very particular order. So I chose not to reveal Chief right away. The first thing you see is the Xbox getting banged. And it's not obvious that Chief is fucking the console right away, but you know something's going on. It's like the Xbox is vibrating and shaking all over the place, and then you leave the audience to assume, like, you let them figure it out in the first few seconds, where it's just like, I wonder what's happening. It's like, oh, Chief's probably fucking it because he's a fanboy, right? And then you reveal Chief.
Yes.
So I always try to reveal things as late as possible.
Master Chief.
And in a dramatic order.
So many holes, so little times.
And then when all the shots are broken down, then that's where the dialogue gets fleshed out, where it's like, okay, what's the dialogue in this block? What's the dialogue in this block? And then that makes writing the dialogue much more manageable because you break it down into bite-sized, manageable chunks, you know? So that's the worst thing you can do is just start from the minute details and work your way up to a theme, because then it's just an overwhelming mess where you're just like, well, where do I start with in terms of dialogue, right? So I find it's good to it's okay to start from that. Like if you have an idea, like a line of dialogue that's really funny, you can start from that, but then you're going to reach a point where you're just like, okay, I don't know where to go from here. And so the answer is to flip to the other side of the story building process and start from the inside out, where it's like, okay, what's my theme? What's the central joke here? And so the central joke of this episode would be Chief sells hacked versions of the Switch that play Halo on them, right? And if that theme changes, then you can switch it out for something else. But it's good to have something there and have a game plan, you know? And then when in the process of fleshing out the story, you realize that maybe the theme that you initially came up with isn't the one that isn't what it, like, you might decide that the theme is different in the process of writing the story, and it's okay to switch the theme out for something else, right? But it's always good to have something there so you have something that's driving the story forward, right? But from the very beginning, I was pretty set on, like, this is the joke. This is what I want to do. I want to do some... well, the first thing I started with was the Nintendo Switch. Like, I want to do something with the Switch and something with Chief in relation to the Switch. And Chief obviously wouldn't be a fan of the Switch. So I want to extract the comedy from that, because it's established the audience already thinks, like, okay, Chief is a Microsoft fanboy. So that shot where Chief looks and there's a focus rack and it's like an over-the-shoulder shot over Chief looking at Arbiter playing the Switch, the audience knows that they see that shot and they're like, oh, Chief realizes that Arbiter's playing Switch. And it's like, they know, like, oh, he likes Xbox, he's not a fan of the Switch, what's going to happen, what's going to be his opinion on it? And, you know, I play on that expectation with that, like, holding on silence where Chief is just standing there staring like, are you fucking serious? The Nintendo Switch really And yeah, so you get the idea, right? I'm saying a bunch of things right now, and it's probably really obvious, but I'm just walking you through my process of breaking a story down from concept all the way down to like, these are the shots, this is the dialogue, right? And then the script gets finalized, right? So I comb through it a few times, and then punch up the dialogue, throw in a few jokes, maybe take some jokes out that aren't working. Like I'll write a draft and then like leave it for a while and come back to it, and then I'll read through it again and I'll be like, that's not that funny, or you know, I thought that was funny when I first wrote it, but now I realize that it's not that funny, so I'll take it out. Or you find stuff where it's like, that is funny and I can expand upon that in a way that I didn't before. So like, it's just like, where else can I go with this joke? And then, so, you know, you take some jokes out, you throw some jokes in, and then you polish the script. And once the script is finalized, that's when all the dialogue gets written out phonetically in like a notepad document. So it's just like all of Chief's dialogue is like written out in one giant block of text. And then the same with Arbiter's dialogue. And then I know I'm talking way too much here, and we've been paused for like 5-10 minutes, but just bear with me, okay? I'm almost done. And so all the dialogue is separated into phonetic chunks, and then they're pasted into the text-to-speech thing, and then I record that synth dialogue from Microsoft Sam and Mike, and then that dialogue gets imported into Adobe Audition. I cut out the dead air, and then that gets imported into Premiere, and then you cut it up, and then you trim it so it's like right cut on the frame, like the start and end points of each sentence is like cut right down to the frame, so there's no like dead air, there's no space where it's like nothing is audible. I cut all that out, and then I subtitle it all, so you basically just stretch one giant text slate in the Adobe timeline over all the voice clips, and then you chop that up along with all the voice clips start and end points, and then you subtitle all the lines of dialogue separately, and then once all the subtitles are written, then all the voice clips are linked to the subtitles, and then they're all shifted chronologically, like in the order that they're supposed to be uttered, right? So it's like Arbiter says this, then Chief says this, then Arbiter says this, right? And so it's like alternating between the two, just like it is in the script, right? And so that's all done before anything's even shot. So before anything is even shot, I have the whole conversation and subtitles on a timeline. And so I can hear the conversation even though there's no footage. And me hearing the conversation with subtitles gives me an even more solidified idea of how to shoot it, right? So I'll do that first. That'll strengthen my idea of like, okay, I need this shot, I need this shot. And then I refine a shot list. So it's like, and you know, you have all your different types of shots, right? You have your extreme wide, your wide, full shot, cowboy shot, medium close-up, extreme close-up, and inserts, right? So an insert is anything that's not a person in the shot. It's like an object, right? So that all gets broken down. I know exactly what shots I need, and then I shoot it all. Like I write it all on my phone, so I have a list of shots on my phone, and I'll go through my phone. I'll have my camcorder in one hand and my phone in the other, and I'll be like, okay, I need this shot next, I need this shot. And then I'll just do that for like, that'll be like a whole day of shooting, where it's like hundreds of shots just for that bite. It like literally just under 200 shots, I think. And then that all gets transferred and imported, and then I throw that in with the dialogue, and then I edit it. And then after it's all edited, that's one phase, and then there's a sound design phase, right? So all the source audio that the camcorder records while I'm getting these shots, all that audio is scrapped. and it's replaced with brand new audio. So I'll have like the footage and the dialogue and the subtitles, but there's no sound. And so I need to do all the sound raw, right? So I'll record ambience, room tone, right? And then all the individual sound effects. So Chief spanking the console banging the table, Chief banging the console. Those are recorded as separate sounds, and then they're all layered in post-production, right? So I grab all the sounds, and then I import them all, and then you place them all on the timeline. And then at the very end, the last thing is mixing the music in. So like there's no music until the very end. And then I decide, okay, this music would fit here. I'll put some ominous sound design here, but it's used in a comedic context. Like for instance, when Chief is like, stop liking things that I don't like, or I'm going to kick your ass. All of a sudden the sound design gets very like, the music stops and it's like there's this ominous drone where it's like, bwah, and then there's a low sub hit where it's like, to accentuate certain sentences, as if it's like a big deal, or that, you know, he's saying, stop liking things that I don't like, or I'm going to kick your ass. So it's extracting the comedy from that, right? And that's it, okay? Yeah, I'm done. There you go. There's my process. Okay, I'll shut up now. So I'll just play the rest of the episode.
Your CPU is so fucking hot, Abby. They doesn't call
That's
you
my
sex
process.
box for nothing. That was the best.
And I actually
I'll call
love
you later,
the
gay.
cinematography part of it.
Okay.
I like it when a
Stay
shot
beautiful.
comes together.
Man, Sex
you know?
Bone 1X is literally the greatest goat of all time. It should be
It's
known
very,
farm. It's so
entertaining
dope.
for me.
I'm not even biased at all. Even the console wars is
I
officially
like framing
finished.
a shot.
Why the
and
fuck
I
would
like
you ever play anything else?
you look
ever?
for ways to tell
got
as
some
much
cool
of the
games.
story as possible in a single frame. You know.
What is that?
Here we go.
What the fuck
I
is
knew
that?
I was having too much fun. Can
So
always rely
Chief's
on
not a
you to
fan
keep
of
it
the
in check.
Switch,
Is that
obviously,
phone?
because he's an Xbox
This
fanboy.
looked like a phone to you. For a giant baby.
And
Well,
Arbiter
you're a huge
playing
baby,
anything
so I
else
guess it made
rubs
sense.
in the wrong way.
So what is it?
Classic
That's right,
comedy
don't let the big
formula.
white logo and
The-
text on the back distract
The
you from asking
comedic
me.
double act.
It's not like I'm in the
where
middle
they're
of something.
constantly at odds and playing off
Yeah.
the stupidity of the
Me.
console wars.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Jesus,
where
you
it's
still
like-
can't read.
this
Of course, I doesn't waste time learning
tribalism
things that's
over
not important like
consoles,
Halo.
like
I
which is
sure
the
hope
best
it's the text you're
console to
trying to
have.
say.
And if you
Meme.
have this
Incomplete.
console, you're cool. But
Incomplete.
if you have that
Sounds
console,
perfect for
you're
you,
lame.
whatever it
And
is.
the stupidity of all that.
Nintendo Switch.
I like that Arby
Disgusted
kind of
face.
highlights
Are you fucking serious,
that dumb
face? Ah,
What is it?
tribalism when it comes
I fucking
to
touched it.
console gaming,
So,
get it off.
or just gaming in general. And then PC is also a factor,
Yuck.
right?
what are you doing?
So like
That
Chief
was my
shits,
favorite
I
dance.
have Chief
That was my aunt for
shitting
being
on
off and
PC
finger
gamers.
blasting hot ass chits.
even
The
though
first part, I
PC is
believe.
clearly superior
My
to
favorite
console.
aunt has an AIDS now.
You can
You're being
customize it. You
ridiculous.
can have way higher end
It
hardware.
probably just has cancer.
Have a super cancer prolly.
Which
John,
do you think
shut
it
up.
is? Super cancer
Yeah,
or
I
AIDS?
know. Sorry.
Both.
I'm sorry if I'm
course.
And
talking
it's
too
super
much.
AIDS too.
Naturally.
Dude,
So
You
that
yourself,
shot
what the
right
fuck is
there,
it?
right? That's an example of
Super
like
cancer.
how do I tell as much of the story as possible in a single frame, right? So it's like there's a lot going on in this shot. It's deceptively simple. Back Arbiter and the Switch in the background, Chief in focus, and then his hand in the foreground. Right? So there's like a layer to like the information that you're being dealt. There's
Or AIDS.
layers to the
Both.
information that you're being
Of
dealt.
course.
and it's super AIDS too.
Naturally.
Dude,
Dude yourself.
what the fuck is the mattress with you?
The matter with me is I'm having fun. What's the matter with you?
Fucking
Yeah, I know,
Nintendo.
it's-
How fucking low
people
can you
are like-
sink?
I did to the fucking Earth's
Making
core
fun of
that
me
got me
because
away
I'm
from
pointing
you.
out
But
very
you follow me.
obvious
You're
things,
supposed
but-
to play Xbox.
I'm not
I don't know.
supposed
It's
to play
like you
anything.
watch a
for
bunch of
Christ's
amateur
sake.
I'm my own
filmmakers
person with
and
my
they
own
don't
taste.
pay attention
Right
to
now,
this
I
sort
have
of
a taste
thing.
for
So
games
that's
other
that's
than
why
shooters.
I feel the
You
need
wanna
to
be a
mention
militant
stuff like
ex-bro,
that.
knock yourself out.
You know,
Though I prefer you keep your fandom to yourself. Like I am.
I doesn't think you heard what I'm
it's
saying,
just
but
like
you
if
are
it's
here.
so easy, why doesn't everybody
I'm
else
fooling
fucking
you
do
right
it?
now.
You know what I mean?
And I'm only gonna say this once.
Once too often.
You need to stop liking things that I don't like. Seriously. It's fucking sad, dude. I felt so embarrassed for you. You gotta stop that shit. Right now. Or I'm afraid you're gonna leave me no choice. I'm gonna have to kick your ass, Arbiter. Okay. Tell me you stand under what I'm just said to you.
So
I
I
stand under what you're
specifically
saying,
cut
Chief.
to
I just
like
don't care.
when the conversation gets
Not saying
intense
you
with
will
that,
succeed,
like
but you do
if
what
you
you
don't
gotta
stop
do.
liking what I don't like, I'm gonna kick your
But-
ass. I deliberately cut
but-
to
but-
like the close shot of
but-
Chief rather than the medium
Well,
shot
but-
or a full
But
shot.
sex bone is
because
best bone.
I'm trying
How
to
come you hate it so
I don't
much?
hate Xbox.
have the proximity of
catch
the
me dead with that
camera
fucking
to the
thing in my
subject
hands.
reflect the intensity
Not at all
of
to
what's
myself
being
then.
talked
Yeah,
about.
until the super AIDS
Right.
cancer fucking kills you to death.
Let's hope.
So what dog shit are you
Why
playing?
can't you just
Let
leave
me
me
guess.
alone?
Queef of the Wild or Super Din Din Wahoo Man?
Neither.
And then
So what
in
then?
the wide shot,
Indie game.
you
Like
can see
Indiana
the severed,
Joe.
the
Independent.
detached hand
Oh, for fuck's sake.
is
What now?
composed in the
Independence
frame.
Games is trash, dude.
Not all of them.
Yes, Arbiter. All of them. Every single one.
Like you'd have a fucking clue.
Unlike you, I doesn't have to hate shit to know what it tastes like.
Tastes pretty good to me.
Cause you're a fucking pleb who loves the tastes of shit. Every time.
And then
Every
I try to
fucking
make the
time you're playing
dialogue
some
as
kiddie bullshit.
authentic
It's like
sounding as
you're actually
possible.
trying to piss me off.
Like I
Like
want,
you do to
I
me
always
every fucking
want,
day.
I make an effort,
I
a
honestly
solid
think
effort
this
to
is
like
one of the
make the
best consoles
dialogue
ever made.
sound
Amazing piece
as
of
authentically as
engineering.
possible, as if
You're
it
the
was
one who
Jesus
did
Christ. The super AIDS cancer has spread to your
two
brains
like
already.
you don't
real
have to agree
gamers
with me.
No shit.
having an
Why the fuck
un-
would I? You're fucking wrong.
two gamers,
Well, that's
one
just
being
like
a
your opinion,
militant
man, and I'm
fanboy,
allowed to have mine.
Wrong again,
authentically
Arbiter. It's
talking about
2019.
video games with
I'm
no
in bar leader
filter.
now.
And
you cannot ask or else. There
You
is
don't
only
see,
the
I don't
facts.
see, I mean, I
I act
don't
at
see
all.
a lot of
I am
conversations like this
literally a
happening
fax machine.
on the internet
What is
or
it you don't
YouTube
like
videos.
about it
but
exactly?
I feel like
The brilliant
People
controller
actually
design. The
talk or
portability.
at least
Those
think
doesn't
like
matter
this.
if you can't even
you know?
fucking play Halo on a dipshit.
like fanboys
That
will
might
think
not
of
even be the
Switch
case.
as just like, oh, you
What
got a
do you mean?
Switch, really? Like I don't know what it is
Well,
like
I've
about
heard it's pretty easy to
why
hack.
Nintendo Switch
other
is
games on it.
perceived by some people to be like
Like
a
with
console
emulators.
for kids or babies or whatever. It's so dumb to me, you know, and that's why I have Chief do it. But I kind of understand the mentality of it, you know. So like, it's not alien to me, but it is stupid at the same time, and I like to extract the comedy of that, you know. I try not to pander to anybody. Like, Chief has his point of view, Arbiter has his point of view, and I try to be authentic to both. When I'm writing for a particular character, I'll be as authentic to that character as I can. So, like, when I'm writing Chief's dialogue, I don't agree with what he's saying, but I'll write his dialogue as if I genuinely believe what he's saying. You know, and that conflict between dialogue of two characters that's written
What the fuck are you
authentically,
doing?
that's where the comedy
Lead
comes
sexy
from.
hacks.
Don't do
right.
that.
So you don't
Doesn't
want to
even
like
know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I do.
write
Shut the fuck up. No,
dialogue
you
between
doesn't.
two
It's super
characters from a
complex, you get it.
one-sided
You're not
approach
leading
where
enough
you're
like me to
favoring
stand
one
under what I'm
character's
doing. There's a bunch
way
of
of
opinions.
thinking.
One antenna.
because
You're
then you
trying
end
to
up
short them.
pandering
You
to
could
one
fight.
side, and
I'm
then the
not gonna fight
conversation
it.
doesn't
I'm
seem
not even
authentic.
hungry.
And
Even though I should
it's
fight it
lame.
cause
It's not
it's
funny,
Switch.
right?
But if I accident I might be able to play Halo on it. That would be fucking hits. And actually made the Switch playable.
You can't play Halo on it.
Not yet, but when I accident.
And I actually like to be
fucking said,
accurate
"You have
by
never listened."
about
Even
the
if you did.
things that
There's
the
fucking
episodes
PayQ
are
and
about.
PlayStation emulators.
So like, if you were to actually hack a Switch, that's actually how you would go about doing it. If there's 10 pins underneath a bit of plastic on one side of the Switch, and if you short pins 1 and 10 together with a paper clip, doing that the Switch hardware registers that as a function of pressing not the home button on the Switch itself, but something like that, some kind of function equivalent to that. And if that function is enabled while you're pressing the power button, then it boots into this recovery mode. And in that window of time, you have an opportunity to what's called inject a payload into the Switch software before it's like it's a small window of opportunity to gain root access into the Switch's software. And so once you have root access, the hardware is fucked and you can do whatever you want. Fucked as in like you can bypass any counter measures that Nintendo have put in place, and you can put whatever fucking shit you want on there.
Why the fuck wouldn't there be one for Xbox?
There is. For Xbox
And so
One
I'll do
anyway.
for something like this. I'll do a
Xbox,
lot
not
of
the new
research.
one,
I'll be like,
but I
okay,
don't
this is
think
how
it's
you do it,
reliable.
and
The
so I'll have
processor's
Chief do
x86.
this, and then
They're
Arby
hard
will
to
say
emulate
this.
properly. Same with the NVIDIA chip it uses.
And the stuff about emulation is
I'm trying to
accurate.
play
Like
Halo
there
here.
are emulators for a bunch of consoles, but only up to PlayStation 2. There
No
are
way.
emulators for Xbox, like Arbiter
Seriously?
says, but because the
Shut up, Arbiter.
x86
Does
processor
your
and
nuts
the
any
NVIDIA
ideas
chip
what
that the
people's
original
would pay me
Xbox
if I
uses
sold
are
this?
so difficult to emulate properly.
Then I could dot more switches, hacks those
there
ones
are
to and sold
emulators,
them.
but they're not reliable.
Then I'd be fucking
reliable
rich.
for.
And all bitches would
for
automatically
Xbox.
suck my cock at once.
Yeah, you might almost make as much as your bail.
What the fuck does that supposed to mean?
Those aren't your products to sell.
But I have them right now. And other
Ancient
people's don't.
Japan,
And I
not
want to
Asian
sold them.
Japan.
And other
I think it's
people
pretty
will want them.
self-explanatory
So why the
that
hell not?
Japan is Asian.
How much is it to make one of those commercial posts on
Asian
Facebook?
Japan. As opposed to
You're
what?
not being serious, right?
Attention all sexy gamers, Switch cups, K-Station cups, but especially this Xbox Chat Master Race. Are you a bad enough
Did you
dude to
record
play
Halo
anywhere?
5
Well, now you
Kardashians
can.
and put it on the
For the
Switch?
first times ever, Halo has
It's just a
finally come to the
YouTube
Switch.
video.
Well, book.
I
Introducing
found
the
a
new Master
YouTube
Switch
video of
GM
like
trademark.
a Halo
Hold the
5
throbbing,
playthrough, and I
pulsating
just played
power
it
of
on the
Halo in
Switch.
both your hands wherever you go.
But it's
At
such a
work,
simple
your
way of
kid,
making it seem
graduation,
like Xbox is
grandma's
being
funeral.
played on the Switch, you know?
Cool.
So I'm just like,
Awesome.
I can't
At last,
not do
the
something with
porta-potty
that.
telling
It's
you
just
the
so easy.
handheld console without all the gay-ass Nintendo games. Mama Media. No Prince Zelda. No racist diddly man. Just Halo. The most game ever made. Whenever you want, wherever you want. Whenever you want. I got this shitload in stocks, but supplies is limited for no reason, so ordered yours right now or you're gay. The Master
joke
Switch
about
DM
artificial
trademark. The most gold
urgency
console ever
in
for chat
sales.
gamers. Cause Master Switch does what
Happens a
Nintendo
lot.
don't. Fuck Nintendo. What is up,
Master
YouTube?
Switch does what
You're
Nintendo
watching the
don't. Is
extreme,
obviously a reference
most
to the
extreme
old
stream.
Sega
I'm
slogan.
your host, Master Chief. Thanks for tuning in,
Genesis
my homies.
does what
And if you
Nintendo
doesn't
don't.
already knew, I got some new merchandise. And it's selling
Used to be in the
hotcakes. The
commercials
Master
for,
Switch DM trademark, Tabby.
Sega's
Play Halo
consoles
anywhere.
because they were so hyper competitive
Man, I
with
can't believe
Nintendo
it
at
took
the
me
time.
this long to start making money.
But they lost
It's
out
so easy.
eventually because the
LOL.
Dreamcast was
Police!
an
Search
awesome
warrant! Come over,
console.
we can see
I
it.
love the
Hands in the
Dreamcast,
air.
but
Oh shit, my promptors.
it was
got to delete
released
them
at
all.
the wrong
Oh god,
time.
there is
and
too many
it
prompts.
didn't,
Police,
there's certain
don't move.
technological
Get down.
things that it didn't
Fast.
have that it
No
should have.
sudden movements.
Okay.
Down flat.
Broadband
On your
was a
knees.
big one.
Stomach against the desk.
Okay.
Hands over your head.
Broadband and
Behind your back. Interlock your
a
fingers.
lack
I
of
can't.
two
Target
analog
secure.
sticks.
Are
I
you
think
the
were the
invite
two
me?
things that really
Microsoft
killed that
Task
console.
Force.
I'm streaming.
What's that?
I'm streaming. The camera's recording.
Turn the stream off. Hey, I said get down on your knees.
Sorry.
Flat on your stomach. Stay down.
I doesn't know what
And of
I'm
course,
supposed
Chief
to do.
only gets
Well,
viewers
that
when he's
sounds
being
like a you
arrested
problem,
on
bitch.
live on camera.
Oh shit.
And that's what's known as the Wilhelm scream. For those not in the know, you might have heard that scream before in movies. It's famously called the Wilhelm scream. It's used a lot.
No. A giant
Stop
fest is
resisting
that
arrest. You modify and resell our product.
Oh,
And then,
Nintendo's
no.
intellectual
there goes
property
Chief, taken away to
Sakura
ancient Japan.
Senki. Your punishment will be severe.
No.
So there you go. If you're just tuning in and you missed that, you can rewind it. I think I have DVR enabled, so you can rewind it and you can watch the whole thing uninterrupted without my stupid face and voice interrupting the whole thing. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and there's more in development. Actually, I want to talk to you about some of the ones I have in development, and I want to ask you whether or not you think they're offensive or not, or what your opinion is on them. Because, see, I got this idea for the next bite I want to do. I have the script fleshed out, but it's about sensitive subject matter because it's about the trans thing. So I have this idea written for a bite where Chief is looking for attention for his streaming, and he wants money, and he sees how much women are making streaming video games, and so he decides to become a woman, and he turns into a Twitch thought being that hoe over there. And so he identifies as a woman and he becomes a girl streamer, right? And so he's lying to people. And it's about, the subject matter is the trans thing, right? But I really don't think I'm shitting on trans people. The joke isn't the trans community. It's about dishonest people who occupy the trans movement and they use the movement for their own gain, their own purposes, right? So that's really what the joke is. But I don't want it to be misinterpreted as me shitting on trans people, because I really don't have anything against the trans community. I mean, they're so hyper politicized right now, but I don't have anything against them broadly speaking. But there are certain individuals, I think, who occupy the movement who don't have good intentions. And so that's what I'm making fun of. That's what I'm trying to make fun of, right? It's like I'm doing this. I have this idea for the bite with the knowledge that Chief isn't what he says he is, right? That's at the core of it. And so what do you guys think? Do you think that's like is there anybody watching this right now who's like identifies as trans or whatever and has a problem with that? I really don't see that being the case. But like if somebody does object to that on some level, I would be interested to hear. And I think I can actually explain, like, no, see, this is what I'm doing. You know what I mean? But I have a strong feeling, like, if I have trans fans who are, like, in the chat right now, that they would be like, yeah, I get it. You know? No big deal. I think it would be fine if done right. I agree. Yeah. I mean, it just has to be clear what the joke is, right? And the joke is liars, essentially, because Chief isn't what he says he is. The reason I think I can get away with it is that Chief knows he's a man, but he's saying otherwise. He's saying, oh, I'm a woman now. I was always a woman, but he doesn't actually think that. He's just saying that to get attention. And I think you got a few people in the trans community who are doing just that. Do you guys know who Jessica Yaniv is? I don't know if you guys know who I'm talking about, but that's an example of somebody who occupies the trans movement, but I think doesn't have good intentions. And she was actually interviewed recently by somebody said Blair White. I like Blair White. I don't know do you have a problem with Blair White? Because I don't. But Blair White recently put a video out where she interviewed Jessica Yaniv. And I couldn't believe that interview. I watched the whole thing and I was just like, oh my God, like I really don't like this person. And it has nothing to do with the fact that they're trans, but it's just like I got a really weird feeling about that person. And it's just like I don't think they're well intended. And that's the kind of thing I have a problem with, you know? Anyway, Blair White and Yaniv are both freaks. Why? Because they're both they both identify as trans. I mean, freaks isn't a good way to describe them. I mean, Yaniv, I mean, I like Blair White. I don't like Jessica Yaniv. But I don't think either of them should be described as freaks. Just because they're trans or whatever. I mean, Jesus Christ, if there's a case to be made for transgenderism, Blair White is certainly it. Because, like, at first glance, you look at Blair White and you're like, that's a woman. But apparently she was born a man and she transitioned into a woman. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Like, you would have to tell me that. Like, I wouldn't just assume that at first glance. But there's certain people where you look at it, you get one glance of them, and they're like, you know, I assume you guys are the same, where you're like me, where you're just like, you look at certain people and you're like, they kind of look like either a man. Immediately they look like a man or a woman at first glance, and you do kind of categorize them immediately on first glance. But then if you come to learn more about somebody, you can like reassess your position, where it's just like, oh, okay, maybe they're this instead of that. But there's going to be that at first glance interpretation where it's just like, that looks like this category, you know? And I look at someone like Blair White and I'm like, that's a woman, but she was born a biological man but transitioned into a woman. And then Jessica Yaniv, who identifies as a woman, but at first glance, it's like, is that a woman or is that a man? I'm not sure. So there's a physicality to like determining at first glance what somebody's gender is, right? And I think people like to pretend that's not the case. Like, people don't work like that, but they do. I think that's the case. Maybe, I don't know. Is anyone disagreeing with me right now? It's hard to tell. You know, these times that we're living in are so fucking sensitive and shit. And I'm not out to offend anybody. That's really not what I'm trying to do. I gain no pleasure from upsetting people. But it's like, I do like to call people out on bullshit when I see it. And it's like, I don't know, man. So, yeah, I got this idea for a trans episode, but like, I want to make sure, I think my heart's in the right place, but it's like, is now the right time to put out like trans material? Like, maybe maybe I should put that script on the back burner, you know what I mean? And then focus on something else that's not as politically charged. But it's just such a funny idea to me that it's just like, I really want to do that, but it's like, it's like risky. It feels like it's risky. Anyway, I don't know if that's going to be the next one I put out, but that is the one that I have most developed. But I have another one as well that I'm developing. Maybe I'll just do that instead in the meantime. But eventually I want to do that episode just because, like, you know. Are you afraid that there will be someone who looks at your video and is offended? It may be inevitable, but if it is, well handled. Does it matter? Well, I just wanted to get a sense from the chat right now about that idea. I mean, I think I'll do that idea regardless because I think it's funny and I think my heart's in the right place. But, I mean, I've already offended people. Like, apparently with that, I told you about this the last podcast that I did about, like, me doing the racist thing. The slightly right-leaning podcast with racist. And it was this whole joke about what a liberal's idea of a conservative is, which is that a conservative is this ridiculous racist who owns every gun ever made and does obscenely racist shit. And apparently a fan of mine took that video and showed it at their school in a debate class, in the context of a debate class, and they got in trouble. And then all the kids who were in class who watched that clip of me as racist were like outraged, apparently, They were like, how could he, you know, entertain the idea of shooting trans people and babies with a 50 caliber bolt action rifle? And it's like, yeah, exactly. How could I? Because it's a joke. How the fuck can you interpret that any other way? It's so dumb. And it's like, when it's so obviously to that degree, when it's so obviously a joke, it's hard to like feel bad. I felt bad because that kid who showed the video got in trouble. And I was like, he shouldn't have gotten in trouble for that. Like, it's a debate class. Like, he should have shown the video and then the student should have talked about it. You know, just discuss the video, like not demonizing anybody, not demonizing the person who showed the clip. Like, how could you show that in class? Like yeah, I get it. I have this offensive sense of humor, and maybe not everyone finds what I do funny, but like, it wasn't my intention to upset anybody. And it's like, I don't think that kid who showed the clip of me should have gotten in trouble, because it was a debate class after all. It's like, you're supposed to bring in controversial ideas and discuss them. I mean, like, that's where interesting conversations come from, is from based on ideas that are controversial and not easily accepted. It's like, how do we feel about this? I don't know. Well, this is how I feel. This is how I feel. Like, and both sides are valid, but like, what I don't like somebody being demonized immediately and then excluded from the conversation. It's like, that's not a debate. Fuck off. Anyway, what are you gonna do? What am I gonna do? Like, I put that clip out there and then shit just happens, you know? Somebody grabs it, shows it in their debate class, gets in trouble, and then I do feel bad, but should I? I mean, I shouldn't let it get in the way of me making more stuff, right? Because, like, you're never going to please everybody. You're always going to offend somebody, and it's like, all I can do is, the best thing I can do is just rely on my own comedic sensibilities, my own sensibility of what's funny, and to exercise discipline in what I'm putting out and make sure that what it is I'm putting out is well intended. And I think I always do that. I'm always really careful with that. It may not seem like it, but I am hyper aware of what I'm writing and the content that I'm putting out. And I go with what's funny, you know, what I think is funny. And I'm worried about having my channel removed. It's a serious concern for me. And I actually recently demonetized all my videos. I don't think I told you guys this yet, but no, I wouldn't have. I did it recently. I manually demonetized not all of my videos, but the vast majority of them, because if my channel were to ever be removed, I don't want to give YouTube any ammunition, you know, for like keeping my channel deleted. Like, if my channel were to disappear one day, I don't want them to give them any ammunition where they could go like, well, you monetized content that was against our policy guidelines, even though I don't think I've ever made anything that was against their guidelines, because that's another thing. Because YouTube is so infuriatingly vague about what their hate speech policies. It's not just YouTube either. It's a lot of different corporations, you know, where it's like they don't, satire isn't a there's not a portion of their guidelines dedicated to satire, you know what I mean? It's just like, the furthest they'll go is like, you can say fuck, you can say shit, you can say damn, like, that's all fine, but as soon as you say racial slurs or the F word, you know what I'm talking about, the slur for gay people that I say all the time, but I'm not saying right now because I just don't want to poke the hornet's nest. But it's like, you can't say the N word, you can't say the F word, and it's like that's where it ends. And it's just like, well, what about satire? What if I use those words, but I'm making fun of the people who use those words in a genuinely hateful way? Like, is it off the table in all cases, including satire? You know, like, how about some specification? But they won't, because like, I don't think they want to put in the effort of like digging through all the satirical videos and being like, because like, I'm sure there's going to be examples of videos uploaded to YouTube where it's classified as satire, but it's secretly like, you know, it's like, oh, I hate black people or I hate gay people, but I'm going to put out this video and use the N-word and the F-word a bunch of times under the guise of satire so I can get away with it. But that's not what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm just trying to make people laugh. And sometimes using the N-word or the F-word is funny to me. And I have used the N-word before. I have used the F-word before. Chief has said it a lot. And I've had Chief say the N-word a few times already. But it's like, I'm not trying to offend anybody. It's just, I mean, the last time I had Chief say the N-word, it was a specific reference to PewDiePie. Because PewDiePie got shit on and thrown under the bus by a bunch of people for saying the N-word live on stream, because he was frustrated because he was playing a video game and he got sniped by some guy. And then he was like, oh, you fucking bleep. And then he immediately apologized for it, but that wasn't enough. All these articles came out where it's just like, PewDiePie has finally gone too far. And it's like, okay, so context doesn't matter then? You know? You can't say the N-word or the F-word under any circumstance. So, including satire. So, it's like, I don't know. Like, I've made videos already where I've said both those things. Is that okay? Is it not okay? I don't know. Could my video or my whole channel one day just be, you know, deactivated out of the blue just because, like, you know, the videos with those words in them, they'll exist on my channel for however long, and then all of a sudden that my channel or one of my videos will fall in the lap of one of the staff members on YouTube's team who's like reviewing my channel or my videos and might see that word, and then they might right there decide to flag my video or my channel and demonetize or delete my channel just based on the utterance of that word alone. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going on over there at YouTube. I don't know what their day-to-day operations are like exactly. I could wake up tomorrow morning and my channel could be deleted. And it's like, what do I do, right? I could make a case. Like, I can justify anything I've ever done in the context of jokes and satire. I mean, I'm proud of that at least, and I can be like, hey, like, you know, I did say that word, but it was in this context, and this, like, X was the subject matter and Y was the joke. And it's like, they're not the same thing. And it's like, this is the joke I was making. Even though I used these words, this is what I'm attacking, you know? I put a lot of thought into that, but not a lot of people do, you know? And I think most cases of the N-word or the F-word being uttered online is just like genuine hatred, where it's just like, those fucking bleeps and those fucking bleeps, I hate them all. I wish they'd all drop dead. I'm not one of those people. But like, just because most people aren't good at using those words in a satirical context, does that mean that I'm not allowed to? Like, what if I'm actually smart about the use of those words? Does it matter? I don't know. And then maybe tomorrow I could get my channel deleted. I really don't know. It's hard to say. And it's so frustrating, you know, because it's like, it's not fun being a YouTuber. Because like I was saying before on my last podcast, being a YouTuber is kind of like being in that movie Chicken Run, where all the YouTubers are just kind of looking at each other nervously because nobody knows who's going to be the next one to have their fucking head chopped off, you know? And it's just like, dude, this isn't fun. This is supposed to be fun, and it's not. It's just like, you know, think these things, say these things, and be careful not to stray from what we deem acceptable content. And who do you let define what acceptable content is? You know what I mean? Like, and then this goes into the whole hate speech thing where it's like, I don't fucking know, guys. You see what I'm saying, don't you? I could go on and on, but you get what I'm saying. I'm just... As soon as you make something off limits to people, you immediately gravitate people towards that thing. Because human beings are vulnerable to are prone to temptation. You know, and if you say to a person, don't go there, don't say that thing, don't do that thing, you make him go and do precisely that thing. And it's like, what are we denying what human beings are now? Like, so I really, it's hard to know what's okay to say on YouTube and what isn't. Because the hate speech thing and the, you know, people being deplatformed, like the guidelines aren't clearly defined. So I don't know. I just have to pray that, like, most of my videos are not monetized now, but I just have to hope that, you know, the presence of the N-word and the F-word in my videos alone isn't enough for my channel to be removed or whatever, you know. I just have to hope. And I don't think my channel should be removed just because I said those words. Because I think context matters. And I think context isn't being considered in when it comes to a lot of online content. And it's just like, you said the bad word, so you can't be on the internet anymore. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? How about analyzing the context in which the words were used? Because whether you like it or not, it does matter. Context is important. I'm not saying I have an N-word pass and I should be able to say the N-word anytime I want, but there are certain like comedic opportunities where I'm just like, you know what? I feel like it would be really funny if this character said the N-word right now. That doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes it's just like, you know, if this guy said the N-word right now, Chief, for instance, I think that would get laughs. Even from black people. I got a comment from somebody the other day. I mean, it was just one black guy. I don't know how most black people feel when they watch my videos and they hear the N-word being uttered, but it's like, I got a comment from one black guy who was just like, I heard Chief say the N-word and I laughed. And it's like, oh, good. Good, because that was my intention. And because I think the context is clear. But who knows who knows when context matters to somebody and when it doesn't. And it's hard to tell. And it just, being a YouTuber, like I said, just feels like a big fucking chicken coop. You know, and you're just waiting to be executed. And it's just a matter of how many days do I have left. You know. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. So, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few minutes. I'm going to go pee again. I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to look at the super chats again, see if there's any more. I think we're all caught. We might be just about caught up. And then I'm going to talk about some more funny stuff, like current events and stupid stuff that's going on in current events, you know, making fun of stuff. Jeffrey Epstein, that's a big one. I'm sure you guys heard all about that. That's old news now, but I still have things to say about it. But anyway, we'll get to that. I'm going to go pee and take a few minutes, and then I'll come back, and then we'll carry on, okay? So just hang tight, dudes. I'll be right back. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, hello. I am stereotypical Japanese man. I am with Nintendo Task Force. I am from ancient Japan.
That's racist, right? That's not okay for me to make that stupid voice. I'm sure there's Japanese people watching right now who are watching with their arms folded.
I don't sound like that. I don't sound like that. That is not how I talk.
It's not muted. Fuck you. Nice try. John, one of my coworkers posted a meme that had the N-word in it, and my other coworker had a meltdown on Twitter because of it. Yeah, I mean, you have to question, like, what's going through the head of the guy who got outraged on Twitter? Like, are they actually offended that that other guy said the N-word, or are they just trying to virtue signal to all their friends, like, look how progressive I am. I'm getting outraged by this guy saying this word. Like, this is bad, right? Yeah, this is bad. I should shun this guy. Yeah, that would make me look cool. Yeah. Fuck that guy. You know, it's like, are you just trying to impress your friends? You know? Look how virtuous I am. I'm getting mad because that other guy said the N-word. Look at me. That's, I don't like that. But I do think the N-word shouldn't be said all the time. Obviously. Like, what if I just replaced every single word in my day-to-day speech with the N-word? Hey, John, how are you today? Bleep, 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 bleep. Oh, really? Okay. Well, you keep doing you. Have a nice day, John. Bleep, 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 bleep. N-word, 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 N-word. Obviously, I wouldn't do that. But, you know, I think sometimes it's funny to use the word. But, should you never say it ever? Is there no... Maybe it's never funny. Maybe I'm just deluding myself. Maybe I'm on the wrong side of history, having ever made a video that had the N-word in it. Maybe I'm a bad person for doing that. I don't know. Maybe I'll go down in history as a racist, guilty of war crimes for saying the N-word. I'll go down in history as a monster. I don't know. It's all stupid. Bunch of people in the chat waiting for apparently Borderlands 3 comes out tonight. Is that what's happening? I'm not really interested in Borderlands. I played a little bit of Borderlands 2. It was okay, but it didn't really grab me. You know what I saw recently that looks really cool is there's this game for Switch called Blasphemous. I think it's Blasphemous, but it looks fucking awesome. It's like that Metroid Castlevania format, but like lots of disturbing pixel art and imagery. Looks fucking rad. I want to play that. What else? I don't know. Let's look at the super chat, see if there's any new ones. I'll look at the Streamlabs as well. Played in the background says, if it's canon the toys make the bites with John's help, then is it canon John knows they're sentient in the show? No comment. There's going to be development in the plot later on where that will become clear. But I'm not going to say anything on that right now. But thanks, play it in the background. Killa Dope Dilla says, can we have sex? Sexy sex again, John. It's been a while, lol. Sure, why not? Come on over. I'll prop my ass cheeks open and we'll make a night of it. Thanks, man. Jack Turner says, do a commentary of Digital Fear's Guide to Halo 3 Machinima, pussy. Love you, job. Kisses. Oh, thank you, man. That's a good idea. I forgot about that. I'm going to write that down, actually. Guide to Halo 3 Machinima. Before I forget. So probably won't get to it today, but I just want to have it written down so I remember one of these days to do it. Come on. Commentary. Okay, good. Yeah, so that's a good idea. I'll do that. I'll do that later. Thanks, Jack. And Brett Benson says, why do Eddie and Max-esque voices anymore? Oh, like in Hard Justice. I would have 3 basic voices that I would do. It would be my voice at regular pitch, my voice at 110% pitch, and my voice at 90% pitch. And those would be like 3 characters without doing any kind of like different inflection in the way I actually say the words. It would all be in post-production, right? I would just alter the pitch. And that's how I used to do the characters for an old show I used to do called Hard Justice. And it was kind of lame, but it's got a cult following, I guess. Some people like it. I don't know. Yeah, I would rather just cast. I mean, I'll try to do a bunch of voices myself, but I'll also try and cast different people to do voices just so it doesn't sound like I'm doing everything. Because people get tired of my voice after a while, including me. It sounds stupid if I'm doing every character, especially the women. I used to do the female characters in my shows. That was a long time ago, but I used to, and it was like so cringy to look back on that. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe I thought that was a good idea. Anyway, thank you for all the super chats. And I'm going to look at the Streamlabs donations, see if there's anything. I think there might be at least one thing. We'll see. Where is it? Oh, there's like a chat window in Streamlabs. The YouTube chat is embedded in the window. I didn't know that. That's cool. So what am I looking for? The donations part. Wherever it is. Sorry guys, just give me a second here. Jesus fucking Christ. Why do they make this so hard to find? It's what I get for updating. All of a sudden the interface fucking changes and I don't know where everything is. It's so frustrating. I don't know where my donations are. You'd think they'd make that easier to find. I mean, am I crazy? The event window, where is that? Okay, I see it in my recent events here. So, Marksman 23 says, when is Hard Justice Season 3? And also, how come you don't do the classic Eddie and Max-esque voices anymore in your vids? Oh, must have been the same guy who just left a YouTube thing. Is that different than the YouTube super chat thing? Is that two different? I don't know. Hang on, just let me check. So it must be the same guy, but he put it through YouTube chat and Streamlabs. So yeah, I'm not doing any more Hard Justice, and I already talked about the voices, and I try not to do that anymore. Sometimes I'll still do like pitch changes. I don't know, it depends. I'll try and cast other people this time. But thank you, Marksman23. Thank you, everyone, for the support. Really helps, and I really appreciate it. Oh, and there's one more here from Travis. Travis says, Hard Justice X One Life Remaining X Arby and the Chief crossover. I already did One Life Remaining and Arby and the Chief crossover, kind of. There's like a scene in One Life Remaining where Anthony is running. He's working at the game store and he gets a prank call from Chief. And then I had an Arby and the Chief short, where you see Chief on the other end of that call, making that call to that character. I thought that was cool. So that's an example of like a crossover thing. But I got no plans in the future to do it, unfortunately. I'm sorry. Hard Justice, One Life Remaining, those are behind me now. I'm just focusing on Arby and the Chief now. And when that's done, I'll still do some like Bytes episodes, but I want to move on to something else. I might make a game, actually. I want to do a game one day. I kind of tried that and failed with Polyfrost, but I want to scale back. Like, I still want to make a game, but scale it back to a degree where I can actually execute it. And if it does well, then maybe I can use the funding from that to like make something bigger and better. But I don't know. I would like to make a game one day, because it's like, I love video games. I can write stories. Why can't I make a story-driven video game? Surely I'm able to do that. Like, why not? I feel like I could do that. But let's just focus in the meantime on getting fucking Season 8 out and finished. Done and dusted. So thank you, everyone, for the support. And let's just talk about some stoofs. Oh, we got another one from Jarrett. Jarrett says, but job, we need Arby and the Chief in LA back. Do you really? Do you need it? Is it needed? I need Arby and the Chief in LA in my life. Well, go to LA and good luck finding Machinima if you can fucking find them, because that company no longer exists. And I'm sure all the ex-employees of Machinima have all splintered off and moved on to different things now. A bunch of them went to Rooster Teeth, which just announced some downsizing today. And they've been getting a bunch of flack in the past couple months because they've been getting some very not good reviews on Glassdoor, which is a website for employees to anonymously leave comments and thoughts on their place of occupation and their the way the companies they work for are managed, and they had a lot of not good reviews on there, which was sad to see. I talked about a little bit about this when I did my last gameplay capture stream, but not on my last podcast. I meant to, but I didn't get around to it. But what are your guys' thoughts on that? I mean, I don't know what's going on over there. I mean, it sounds like what the people who are leaving these reviews clearly aren't satisfied with their place of work, and it's a shame because the time I worked with Rooster Teeth, like those guys making those 2 Rooster Teeth shorts that I'm in, I had a great time working with them. And so it's hard to believe that, there's employees with Rooster Teeth that are so dissatisfied. But I think those guys are cool. They're really nice people. And I don't know what's going on. Maybe they got carried away with... I don't know, man. It's like that's the thing. As soon as you become like a corporate entity, it's like I just see that as like all of a sudden all the fun is drained out of the operation. And then as soon as you form like a company or like a conglomerate that's made up of more than one person, all of a sudden it's about like, okay, how can we maximize profits and how can we, carefully maintain our image so we broaden our, we expand our consumer base to be as big as it can and and offend the fewest amount of people, right? And then there's such an emphasis on like the company image where it's like, because I'm an individual, I'm not a part of a company. I don't work for a company. I'm just working for myself. And, well, I work for the fans, technically. I am funded directly by the fans of my content. And I just do what I think they want from me. And I just try to be as funny as I can. And sometimes that comes at the risk of offending certain people, but I'm not in the game of offending people. That's not my intent. But I don't water down what I do or I say either. But as soon as I were to become part of a company, or like if I were to like create a company with employees, all of a sudden it would be like, okay, it's not about writing funny stuff anymore. It's about managing a business and maintaining a corporate image. And it's like all of a sudden you're not allowed to have an opinion on anything. Like Rooster Teeth recently, I noticed they had that like trans acceptance thing, which is fine. It's just like I'm just personally, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I'm triggered by rainbows now. I'm using the word triggered in like a comedic context there, but rainbows actually make me mad now. And it's like they never used to. I like rainbows. Because it's like a celebration of color. You know what I mean? I love color. But it's like rainbows have become so hyper-politicized now that it's hard to look at a rainbow and not think of the political associations and the trans thing. And like, I mean, I'm on board with the trans movement, but it's like, what exactly are we saying? Like, are we saying include everything? Because I don't think that's the answer. Like, to be inclusive of absolutely everyone and everything under the guise of empathy, and so it must be inherently virtuous, like, I'm not on board with that. I'm on board with including some things, not everything. Now, what is it I want to exclude? Is it trans people? No. Is it gay people? No. Is it da-da-da-da-da? No. But it's malintentioned people. That's who I want to exclude from things. Where it's like, no, you're a liar, or you are, you have bad intentions and your intent is to hurt other people. So no, like, it's like there should be limitations on what is included and what is excluded, right? I don't know if I worded that or if I'm wording anything right now in an appropriate way. Probably some people watching me right now who are offended or maybe not offended, but they just think I'm a big fucking idiot and they're like, what is he trying to say right now? I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now, but that's the risk you take, you know, when you do something like this, where it's just a guy in front of a microphone talking and, you know, occasionally I'm going to say something that's fucking stupid, but I think you get what I'm saying, right? It's like, I think it's naive just to include everything blindly around you. Where, you know, it's just like things should be individually assessed. Where it's just like, do I want to include that thing? It's like, is it a good thing? Okay, then let's include it. But you can't not assess things on an individual basis. That's all I'm saying. I think that's what I'm saying. But anyway, it's like, okay, so my point was that Rooster Teeth had that like trans rainbow thing going on for a while in their icon. I guess because it was like Trans Awareness Month or something, and every company was doing that. And it's just like every time I see a fucking rainbow, it's like, ugh. It just gets an eye roll from me. You know what I mean? Because I just see it so often. And when anybody ever makes like a politically charged video, it's like, it's got to be them in front of a rainbow backdrop. It's like they'll go out of their way to find like a wall that's like painted with rainbow colors so they can stand in front of it and be like, look at me, I'm in front of a rainbow. I'm such a progressive person. And it's a form of virtue signaling, right? But it's like, what is it? What is your message? Like, what does inclusion mean? Because it needs to be, it's something that should be precisely defined. Right? It's like if I'm a part of the trans movement, does that mean that I have to does it mean that I have to be a social constructionist, or I don't believe there's a biological framework that we all exist under? Because that is what I believe. But am I supposed to not do that because it enforces a binary cis-normative culture? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I just want these terms to be a little more defined. But because it's just that it's like this big rainbow blob of like, if you're not with us, you're a bad person, and if you're with us, you're a good person. If you're not with us, you're a bad person. And it's like, well, what is your ideology exactly? What is it you believe precisely? And then like, we'll break it down, and then we'll work out like, okay, yeah, I'm on board with you guys, or maybe not. Politics, the show. Yes, I know I'm talking about some things. Maybe I sound out of my depth. I probably do. But like, fucking hell, at least somebody's talking honestly. You know, even if I do sound like a fucking retard, at least I'm saying what I think. You know? Hopefully I didn't trigger anybody with my use of the word retard there, but people know I'm not, hopefully, they know I'm not making fun of retarded people just because I say retard. I would never call a retarded person a retard, but if somebody says something stupid, I would probably call them a retard if they weren't retarded. You know what I mean? Like, fuck. I'm not one of these people who thinks like certain words should be like, you should never say that word ever. You know, it's like, well, maybe there's an instance where saying that word would be funny. No, John. You're banned. Forever. Anyway. So, like, if I was working for Rooster Teeth, for example, and, you know, Rooster Teeth, say I was working for Rooster Teeth under, like, Trans Awareness Month during a time where they had, like, the rainbow behind their corporate logo. But then, say, like, I saw a video with Jessica Yaniv in it, and she did or said something that I found really objectionable, I wouldn't be allowed to have an opinion on it or express an opinion on it because it might make Rooster Teeth look bad. You know? Like, because I'm working for myself, I'm an individual. if I have a problem with somebody like Jessica Yaniv or something, I could tweet right now and be like, hey, this person said this thing and I don't agree with it. But if I was working for Rooster Teeth, it would be like, oh, wait a minute. You're an employee of the company, so what you tweet out there on social media reflects on us, so you better be careful. Maybe Rooster Teeth wouldn't be like this, but I have a feeling that they would. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but it's like, I don't think it's crazy to think that the company would have their image in mind, you know? And it's like they want to be careful about what each of their employees say. And I think like as soon as you're part of a group or a conglomerate or a company, all of a sudden you got to filter your own speech. And I would hate that. If I have an opinion on something, I want to be able to talk about it honestly. And if somebody disagrees with me, they're free to bring it up in the chat or whatever, or send me an email saying, you know what, I was listening to your podcast and you said this thing and I don't agree with it. Here's why. That's totally fine. I'm actually interested to hear from people like that because it's like, okay, this person doesn't agree with me. Well, I'll seriously consider what their counter argument is. Well, it's often the case that I don't even get a counter argument. It's just like, John said this, so he's a retard, duh. And it's like, that's not an argument. You know? It's like, calling me a retard isn't going to make me make me reconsider my position. It's like, if you're going to criticize me or say that I'm wrong, why don't you think about it and pose a counter argument? If you really think I'm wrong, it's like, tell me why you think that, at the very least, you know? As if calling me a name is going to make me go like, oh, I never thought of that way before. I'm a retard. Of course. Why bother have an opinion on anything? I'm just a retard and everything that I say is going to be wrong. And so I feel sorry for the guys at Rooster Teeth, you know, because it's like you start a company and then all of a sudden when you're responsible for a body of people and not just yourself, then it's like you've got so many things to worry about at once. And then all of a sudden it's not about the work anymore. It's about like keeping the ship afloat and a bunch of business and paperwork and boring stuff. And it's like, I'm not about that, man. I always want to do this. I want to do podcasts. I want to be able to say what I think without having to screen it in front of a committee first, where it's like, is it okay if I have an opinion on this? Yes, okay, John, we give you permission. Or no, because it's dangerous to have an opinion on that right now because that's not the direction the political winds are blowing right now. So we should just play it safe in order to maximize our success as a business, you know. And I don't want to be in that kind of environment. I want to say what I think, and anyone's free to disagree with me and say why they think I'm wrong, and I'm open to reading that. And I want to write what I think is funny, and I don't want to have to report to anybody. Like, is this okay? Can I do this? Can I say this? Can I have this opinion? That's lame. And I kind of think that's where a lot of content is going now. It's going to the individual. I think like 10 years from now, there's going to be a lot more people like me who is just like one person with their own little station, you know, their own channel. And it's like, you know, you subscribe to individuals rather than companies. Because as soon as like an entity is like as soon as you define yourself as a company, it's like you're not getting that unfiltered, maybe in rare cases, but like I think if you're a part of a group, you're immediately, what you say is filtered in the interest of the company. And That's why I don't ever want to like be in that environment, because I want to be able to say what I want. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough about that. That's my thoughts on that. I don't know what's going on with Rooster Teeth right now, and apparently they just laid off like 50 employees or something. And they put out this letter where it's like, it was a finely worded letter, but it was very generic in the sense that it's like, you know, there's these common ingredients that these company letters always have when they're talking about downsizing, where it's like, the company is like experiencing a brand new chapter in its development, and it's like, it is with a heavy heart that we make these decisions, and we believe that this is the best decision going forward for an exciting new chapter. They always say that, exciting new chapter. And it's like, it's like, I guess they did a good job wording the letter, but it's like, it comes off as so artificial. You know, it's like going through the motions. It's like almost like a checklist where it's like, we believe this is the right decision, exciting new chapter, ticking boxes, you know. And 50 employees were laid off, which accounts for 13% of their whole workforce. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Exciting new chapter after terminating many who have been serving them for years. So sad. Well, I mean, maybe there's some justification to the people who were laid off. I mean, they said in their letter that it wasn't necessarily due to anybody's in particular's ability or lack thereof, but maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But it just comes off as artificial, you know? And I'm not shitting on Rooster Teeth. I'm really not, because it's like, that's just kind of an inevitability to becoming a corporate entity where you're responsible for X amount of people rather than just yourself. In my case, it's just me. There's no operation here. There's no team behind the camera. It's literally just me fucking doing all this shit. I'm writing. I'm doing the podcast. I write my own material. I set everything up myself. I edit everything myself. This is a one-man show, and I don't have an HR department or a standards and practices department that I have to report to make sure the things that I say are okay, because that would just infuriate the shit out of me, and I wouldn't be happy. It's a shame what's going on over there. I mean, this obviously isn't the end of Rooster Teeth. Maybe they'll go on to thrive from here, but I wish them the best, because I really like those guys. The time that I spent with them was really cool. They were really nice to me, and I had a lot of fun making those videos with them. And I hope I think they're probably getting a bunch of negative reception and press right now because of the layoffs and the bad reviews, but I hope they dig themselves out of this little hole that they're in right now, because I think they're good guys. I think they've just got swept away in the business and the red tape of it all. And I know that's not a situation I would want to be in. And apparently, Funhouse is leaving them as well. You guys know who I'm talking about, right? Funhouse, Adam, fucking hell. I'm embarrassed that I can't remember his last name. Adam and Bruce Green and the rest of them. They're the Funhouse team that was a part of Machinima, but now they're Rooster Teeth, but apparently they're leaving Rooster Teeth now. Adam Kovic, yes. So apparently, maybe it's not the whole team that's leaving Rooster Teeth, but I think at least Bruce is leaving. Only Bruce. Okay, so yeah. So Funhouse isn't leaving Rooster Teeth, but Bruce is leaving Funhouse. And apparently he didn't agree with what Rooster Teeth is doing, and that's a shame, because I like Funhouse. I think all those people are great. I liked I think Bruce and Adam Kovic are really talented, and I really appreciate the work they did for me on Arby and the Chief. But even though I don't really hear from them now, but I wish them all the best, and it's a shame that Bruce and them can't get along, and he feels that he needs to go his own way. But yeah, I don't know what's going on over there, but I wish them all the best, you know. Bruce Green left before the downsizing. Oh, okay. Bruce is going to try to start his own business, and honestly, I think he's going to succeed. Good for him. He felt awful and felt like he had to move on. That's a shame. Well, whatever's going on. I like Bruce. I like Adam. I like Funhouse. I like Rooster Teeth. And it's a shame. It's a shame what's happening. But I hope they all find greener pastures. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? What else is going on? So you guys heard about Jeffrey Epstein, right? You know who that is? Guy who had owned and operated what is referred to as Pedophile Island. And he committed suicide. Maybe he did. But it seems pretty suspicious, you know, because a lot of high-profile people went to his island, and who knows what happened over there. There's some testimony that's not very flattering about what happened over there. And then Epstein went to jail. He tried killing himself, I think, at one point. He failed. He was put on suicide watch. And then he was supposed to testify in court against a bunch of high-profile people who went to his island. And then, suspiciously, before he was supposed to be in court to testify, he was taken off suicide watch. And then there was a camera malfunction where I think 2 cameras that were fixated on Epstein's cell, outside the cell, not inside, but 2 cameras, not 1, but 2, malfunctioned at the same time. There were screams heard from Epstein's cell around the time he was killed. He was found dead. There was a 4chan post as well. An hour after he died, but about 40 minutes before the media caught on, there was a post made on 4chan saying, "Don't ask me how I know this, but Epstein is going to be found dead in his cell." And 4chan is an image board, so it was accompanied by an image, and it was reported as a picture of Pepe, but it was a variant of Pepe. It was actually a pixelated drawing of Wart, the big frog boss from Super Mario Brothers 2, but with a Pepe the Frog face. And so that was weird. And so there's all these suspicious elements. The way apparently there's like bones broken in Epstein's neck in such a way that it suggests that he was strangled by hand and not hung. Like he didn't hang himself, but the injuries in his neck more strongly suggest that he was like choked. I think the cameras were shut off and they sent like a fucking buff ass guy in there to strangle the shit out of him. I think that's what happened, man. I think like there's probably some not well paid guards on way too much overtime who were tired. They're standing outside Epstein's cell. And then a couple of guys walk up. One of them super buff. He has a fucking noose slung over one shoulder. "Hey, what are you guys doing here?" "Yeah, we're here to see Jeffrey. Why don't you take a walk?" What's that rope for? Forget about it. Nothing. Don't worry about it. Just go and have a nap in the restroom. And then, you know, the guards who were supposed to be there left, and they were like napping or something. And then, so he was found dead. And then people are supposed to be like, oh, what a coincidence. And then, but most people are just like, come on, there's something going on there. Which begs the question, is the world secretly run by a secret group of billionaires, evil billionaires? And I don't know. I think it's true to some degree. I think the only question is how high up does it go? Because I think it's entirely plausible for a bunch of rich guys to get together and discuss how they can maintain the money that they have and make more in the foreseeable future. So it's like, it's just a matter of how high up does it go. Like, I believe there's a bunch of rich people who meet to coordinate to make sure that they each maintain the wealth that they have and to make more money. But it's like, do those people run the world, or is their level of control exaggerated, right? And so it's like, I don't know how high up it goes. If, you know, maybe it's like eyes wide shut level, where it's like they're all wearing fucking freaky masks. It's like the Illuminati, right? Like, is that what's going on up there? Is that really what's happening? Where it's like you have all these freaky mask wearing orgy people with this more money than they know what to do with, and they just spend their days fucking having sex with each other and, you know, taking trips to Pedophile Island. And that name, like, just it's like we're not supposed to believe that this guy, or we're supposed to believe that this guy killed himself, but he had an island called Pedophile Island that a bunch of high-profile politicians and billionaires would go to. And it's like he was just about to testify against a bunch of people, and oh, he's dead. It's like we're not supposed to like think, we're not supposed to at least squint our eyes to that, where it's like, I don't know, Pedophile Island. I wonder if, like, if you went to Epstein's Island, that there would be a sign, you know, like Jurassic Park, where it has like the big sign that says Jurassic Park on it, except it would say Pedophile Island and it would have giant doors. Can you imagine being on that helicopter going to Pedophile Island? You know that scene from Jurassic Park where Sam Neill is sitting? It's like, when are we going to get there? Or like, where is this place? And then the guy in the white suit with the hat on and the cane, he points to like the island that's approaching. He's like, there. And then it's like, there's Pedophile Island. Ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-da-da, da-da-da-da. Da-na-na-na, da-da-na-na-na. Na-na-na-na-na. And then the helicopter lands, and then it's like, here we are at Pedophile Island, and it's like a theme park. It's kind of like Disneyland, and it's like there's a bunch of cages and electric fences. Like, that's still the same, but instead of dinosaurs, it's naked crying children behind fences. Pedophile Island, everybody, welcome. And it would have its own like vehicles on like a rail system. But instead of like the JP logo, it would be PI for Pedophile Island. Oh, shit. That's not funny. How could I possibly make jokes about that? That's very offensive. So yeah, very, very suspicious stuff going on there. I don't know what to make of it. I think there are meetings with rich people. It's just a question of how much power do they really have, you know? I don't know if it's eyes wide shut level, but maybe it is. I'm not sure. But anyway, so Epstein, that's a thing. What else? Oh, I got this funny story. I talked about this already. Maybe there's probably some of you who tuned in for my gameplay capture stream, and I had this story about a girl wearing this shirt. I'm just gonna tell the story again because there's probably a bunch of people who don't know what I'm talking about. But so I'm outside this cafe, right? And I'm smoking a cigarette, and I'm waiting for some people to arrive, some friends. I'm meeting them for coffee, right? So I'm standing outside the cafe. I'm leaning against a power, like a telephone pole. I'm waiting. I'm just people watching. I'm watching people pass by, right? And this girl. I see this girl walking down the street, and she passes me. And I look at her, and so the theme of this story is inappropriate laughs, right? And so I'm going to describe this girl, and what I'm about to describe isn't funny, okay? It's not the joke, okay? But this girl that passed me, she looked disfigured. Like, her face was disfigured, and I really don't mean this in a mean way, but if I had to describe her facial features, it looked like an iron girder, like, smashed the top of her head, and kind of like her eyes and her nose were in a weird place, and her face looked weird. I'm not trying to be mean, right? And that's not funny in itself. I'm just saying that's what I saw, right? But this girl, right, she had a Fallout 76 shirt on. And I thought, that's not helping. That's really not helping. I mean, a Fallout 76, that. Not only was that game a failure financially, but it was a PR nightmare to the point where everybody knew it was a disaster. And so why the fuck would anybody wear a Fallout 76 shirt? And it's like, of course, somebody who is mentally impeded, only somebody who is mentally impeded would think it's a good idea to wear a Fallout 76 shirt. Because why else would you wear a shirt with a logo for a game that was a well-known commercial failure? And I laughed, but I only laughed because it was a disfigured girl wearing a Fallout 76 shirt. It was that, I want to be clear that it was that juxtaposition between what she looked like and the shirt she was wearing that made me laugh. And I was like, I started chuckling to myself, and I was like, oh, careful. Like, you're not laughing because of the way she looks, right? And I thought about it, and I was like, no. I'm laughing because she looks that way and she had that shirt on. And I like that story because it's a story that highlights the importance of context, right? And context is really important. It always matters. And when people tell you context doesn't matter, it's like, no, fuck off. You're wrong. It does matter. Okay? So shut up. And it's like, maybe I shouldn't have laughed, but I did. And I'm not crazy, right? That is funny. I mean, if I was wearing a Fallout 76 shirt on the podcast right now and I didn't address it, you would all be sitting there going, what the fuck? He actually liked that game? That was a piece of shit. That was a rushed piece of shit that Bethesda put out there for God knows why they thought it was a good idea to push that game out. You know? Like, it's just a rushed job. I mean, it was a great premise, like online Fallout. It's like, hell yeah, dude, sure. Not that I was a Fallout fan in particular, but I can see the value in an online Fallout. I know what Fallout is. It's just I haven't really put any time into the Fallout games because I just know there's an immense scope to those games, and they're a big time sink. It's like the same reason I avoided WoW. I don't think World of Warcraft is a bad game, but in fact, I know it's probably so engaging that it would eat up a lot of my time that I would rather spend on something else. So that was the reason I avoided it for so long. And I would rather not get into the Fallout games because, they take a long time to complete because they're big open single player worlds to get lost in, right? But I would much rather have a very finite campaign to play through. Like if I'm going to play a video game, I would rather not have a 60-hour open world campaign. I would rather have like an 8-hour solid campaign mode that's like got this constant, not necessarily linear gameplay, but just have constant forward propulsion and a very fixed, like 8 to 10 hour campaign. Not too short, not too long, where it's just like you can finish it in the span of a few days or a week and be like, okay, that's the end of it. Like that was a lot of fun. Holy shit. I would rather, if I'm going to play video games, I prefer that kind of thing where I don't want to spend 100 hours on one game, There's certain games I can see myself pouring a lot of hours into, but not a lot. Like MMOs and like single player open world RPGs. Like I would rather spend my time on other things like writing or editing or whatever, But anyway, that's my Fallout 76 shirt girl story. I hope you like my story. And it just highlights the importance of, what you can laugh, but like what is it you're laughing at exactly? And context is important. That's the moral of that story. Context matters. Anyway. So yeah, there's that story. What else have I got here? I have 5-word summaries of like topics to talk about that have some kind of funny idea embedded in it. One of them is, I'll just read what I have written here. I want to choke every YouTuber. So the idea is that I would see that on my phone and then go into a rant about how much I hate YouTubers, which I'm about to do, because I really do. Like, I'm a YouTuber, but I hate almost every YouTuber that I watch. And it's like, because they come off as so fake. But I'm so salty because they have way more subscribers than me. I'm just like, how the fuck did they get that many subscribers? Like for content that's just so like, they don't even have an angle. It's like it's not funny. It's not even witty or necessarily entertaining. I guess the only angle they have is like it's informative to some degree, I guess. But you don't have to go to that person for that information. You can get the same information from anywhere, like Wikipedia or fucking, I don't know, whatever, IGN or any popular. It's like, I think every YouTuber should have an angle, even if it's just like comedy or whatever. Like, just have some extra thing. Like Video Game Donkey, right? I always tune into his stuff because I think that dude's hilarious. And it's like, he's super knowledgeable about video games. He knows what he's talking about. And he has that comedic angle. And it's like, it's not even like forced comedy or like, you have YouTubers who like, they try to be funny, but they're not. Like, that's just, I hate, it's so cringy to watch that stuff. But Donkey's one of those guys who's like, this guy's genuinely funny. I like listening to this dude. And he gets it. You know what I mean? Like, he understands gamer culture in a way that most people don't. But so many YouTubers, they have like there's way too much product in their hair, and like, you know, they move their head around in an exaggerated fashion, and you watch their hair bouncing around, and you can just tell that they're like talking to the camera in such a way that there's probably a lot of like, they do a lot of takes before they get it right. You know what I mean? So like, I'm watching these YouTubers, and I'm like, this is an example of a YouTuber. It's like, hey, what's going on, YouTube? Welcome to my channel. How's it going, everybody? And then they'll fudge a line or something, and then they're probably like in between takes. They're like, oh shit, I did that wrong. Okay, back to one. And in their head, they're like resetting, and then they're like, it's like, okay. They look at the camera. They take a few seconds. It's like 3, 2, and 1. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to my channel. And it's like, they think that stuff in between is like the stuff nobody's interested in. But it's like, no, I want to hear from that person. You know? That's what I learned to do. I used to be that. I used to be like I would articulate what it is I want to say, and then I would be in front of the camera, and I'd be like, hey, what's going on? Like reading off the page. Like, hey, what's up, YouTube? And then I would like flub the line, and then I would be like, oh shit, I did that wrong. Okay, I got to start again. And then like, it just comes off as so artificial and rehearsed. But like, eventually I learned to just like be the person in between the takes, you know, where it's just like, yeah, if I flub a line or I read a sentence wrong, which happens a lot, just roll with it. You know, and just talk like you would a regular, like I talk to you guys the same way I would talk to any person in front of me, like any friend of mine who I was having a conversation with in person locally. I'm talking to you right now the same way I would talk to them. Like, I wouldn't talk to friends local to me in that fucking rehearsed YouTuber way where it's like, hey, John, how's it going? Hey, I'm fine. How are you, man? Hey, what's up? You imagine the look on their face? They would be like, what's your problem? What do you mean, what's my problem? I'm just talking to you normally, like I would talk to any person. With the eyebrows and everything, the fucking eyebrows going up and down. Because that's what you have to do. If you're a YouTuber, you got to fucking throw in the eyebrows all over the place. Look at me. I have a range of emotions on my face right now, as you can clearly tell by my eyebrows going down and then up and then in surprise, but then furrowed like this if I'm talking about something that I find disagreeable. Nobody talks like that. So why do people fucking make videos like that? It's lame. Nakey Jakey, yeah, he's another one. He just talks to the camera like he would anybody, you know, and I think that's... But more often, the successful YouTubers I see are the phony ones who talk like this. And it's like, how the fuck did that guy get so many subscribers with that painfully mediocre content and that phony ass persona? Like, how the fuck could you have possibly amassed that many viewers? And then I try not to get too salty about it, where it's just like, you know what? They're doing their thing. It's working for them. Their fans seem to like it. So, you know what? Just let them do their thing, and you just focus on you doing your thing, which is me writing stuff, you know, and writing what I think is funny and whatever. And that is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to, obviously, what else can I do? But it's just frustrating to see, like, all these phony-ass YouTubers with, like... And I look at their subscriber count. I'm just like, holy fuck. Like, who finds this interesting? Why? Why? What is the appeal? God damn it. It's kids. Is it all kids? Is it all kids, or do people just like... Is there a demographic that just... Is there a market for phoniness? Do people not like it when they're being talked to like any other human being would be addressed in person? Shit, dude, I don't know. I should just become one of those YouTubers. Hey, what's going on? How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the See Me After Class podcast with the most mobile eyebrows in Canada. Okay, so that's my I want to choke every YouTuber bit. Did you guys hear about, did you guys see, you guys all know who Jordan Peterson is, right? Well, recently some person made a website that has this text-to-speech engine where you can write anything and a voice that sounds exactly like Jordan Peterson will spit it out. And it's like, that's pretty scary, you know? Like, this isn't even about Peterson at this point. It's just like the important thing here is the technology, you know? Like, we've reached a scary point with technology where, I mean, this kind of technology is forever going to change the way evidence works. You know what I mean? Like, for the longest time, for decades, the way it worked is if you were caught on tape committing a crime or saying that you're going to commit a crime, like, that was evidence that could be used against you in court, and you could go to jail based on taped, recorded evidence. You know the trope in, like, 90s movies, 80s movies, where it's like, the jig is up, buddy. We got it all on tape. And it's like, that literally, that's going to go away. Because if you can just falsify anybody's voice now, I mean, not anybody's. Right now, it's just Peterson and a few others who these guys have decided to focus the technology on. But 10 years from now, you're going to be able to falsify the voice of anybody. And what that's going to do in court is either make all evidence inadmissible or everybody's guilty of everything. And so obviously it's not going to go that route. So what's going to happen is that audio evidence of somebody saying something is no longer going to be admissible in court because anything can be fabricated. Like, that's fucked up, right? You guys see that. You can rarely use digital photos in court. Oh yeah, well, I mean, like, since Photoshop fucked that up. You can just make a photo look like anything now. But now it's the same for audio evidence. It's like you can't have somebody dead to rights on tape anymore because somebody, like, if I type some fucked up thing in that Jordan Peterson in text-to-speech engine, make Jordan say something totally fucked up, right? And then if I were to record that digital falsified voice clip on tape and record it in an analog format, I mean, I could play that in court, but obviously that's going to be inadmissible because people are going to know, like, well, you could have falsified that digitally and then recorded it in an analog format to make it seem like it's legitimate evidence when it actually isn't. So courts are going to be aware of that now, and all of a sudden, none of that's going to fly in court anymore. And it's like, that's scary. We've reached a scary point in the evolution of technology where that's changed that forever now. And technology, man, we've hit this event horizon where it's really hard to predict where we're going to be 10 years from now. Even the most brilliant people are having trouble predicting where we're going to be years from now because it's just like there's too many variables. And I worry about the future. It keeps me up at night, you know? It's like, where are we going? Where is this all going? Like, could this drastic exponential evolution of technology lead to another civilizational collapse? And I know I sound like a tinfoil hat fucking... Hang on. I don't want to sound like a crazy person wearing a tinfoil hat that's suggesting that the sky is falling or anything. But civilizations have collapsed before throughout history. And who's to say it's going to happen? Who's to say it's not going to happen again? you know, and maybe it'll be technology that does it this time. And it's a scary thought. Like, I would hate it if there was technology out there that would make it so anybody could make me say whatever. Like, for anybody in the world to put artificial words in my mouth and make it sound like I'm actually saying it. That's terrifying. It's funny. It's funny to make Jordan Peterson say all this heinous shit. But man, and it's not just Jordan. I mean, it's going to be years from now. It's going to be anybody, you know. You just need like a certain sample for any individual. You just need like a sample of their voice, and then you can construct like an artificial version of that voice based on like a 20-minute recording sample. And you can just record, like, they don't even have to know that you're recording a sample from somebody, right? You could just be on the phone with somebody. You think it's like a conversation with somebody innocent, but they're recording your voice, and they're collecting 20 minutes worth of data sampling, and then they'll use that to create like a robot voice version of you, and they can make it say whatever they want. And then all of a sudden you're guilty of saying all these fucking heinous things. And like I said, it's like either you're guilty of all of it or none of it is admissible, which means that audio evidence of something isn't going to fly in court anymore. Like, it's just, that's amazing to have, like, you know, what constitutes as evidence, what has constituted as evidence for so long is no longer applicable. And like, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like, what other changes is there going to be as a result of technology excelling too much? Scary, man, but it's worth thinking about. I think it's important to consider. So that was a thing. What else have I got here? Oh yeah, robots. Those Boston Dynamics robots. You remember those videos where it used to be just the four-legged cargo carrying thing where you would kick it over and it would stabilize itself automatically? It's gone way beyond that now. Those things are fucking sprinting and they're jumping over shit now. Can you imagine if, like, in the future where there's like Boston Dynamics assassins, where it's like somebody can send a robot assassin to kill you, and one of those Boston Dynamics robots would like show up in front of you one day. Like, you'd be walking down the road, and then you see one of those, like, there's a bounty on your head, right? And then you see one of those Boston Dynamics robots at the end of the road staring at you, and then it fucking sprints at you like this, like Robert Patrick in Terminator 2. And it's fucking doing parkour and shit, like running up the side of the wall and doing backflips, and then a knife comes out of its arm and it does a backflip over you and it slits your throat before you even have time to respond. That's the fucking world we're gonna live in. It's like Terminator on acid. Oh man, that's the future. Beds of human skulls everywhere, and Boston Dynamics robots fucking chopping people's heads off. That's scary. You know those, you guys heard of those eater robots, right? It's like, if you've seen that episode of Black Mirror, Metalhead, with the robot dogs, there's actually fucking robots that they are fueled by consuming dead organic material. So like, it eats dead bodies to sustain itself, and it burns that as fuel. Like, where's the line where it's like, eventually there's going to be a point where that robot is like, well, I'm just going to skip the dead bodies. I'm just going to eat anything that's alive. Any biological material, whether it's alive or not. You know? It's like, it's just a matter of time. Like, when is that line crossed? And then all of a sudden we're running away from all these fucking man-eating robots. Fucking scary, dude. And it's like that fucking acronym too. It's like there's no way that they came up with like an acronym and then they just like realized like, oh, EATR, that kind of sounds like eater. It's like, no, that they started with the acronym eater and then they made up four smart sounding words to like fill those spaces. You know what I mean? It's like we want to make a robot that's called eater. It's like, okay, so we got EATR. So let's think up a word for the E, and then let's think up a word for the A. So it's like ergonomic, astronomic, technological, whatever. Just like they come up with the acronym first, and then they fill in the blanks. And it's like, fuck off. That's not the way you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to come up with the full scientific term first, and then whatever acronym you end up with, that's what you go with. There's no way that just happened to be eater. It's like, no, let's create a robot where the acronym's eater, and then let's fill in the blanks later. Like, that's so fucking stupid. So you're going out of your way to make a robot that fucking eats people. Great. That makes me feel great about the future. About bringing children into a world where there's a bunch of killer robots that eat human beings. Awesome. So yeah, there's another thing to look forward to. Killer robots. Not to mention we're fucking them now. Bill Burr in his new special, he had a whole bit about that, about how sex robots are going to fuck us into extinction. And it's like, they're going to, underneath the fleshy woman exterior, it's basically going to be those Boston Dynamics things, you know? 1 minute you're fucking it, and then the next minute it just grabs your head and breaks your neck like this. Fuck that. Wasn't that a Futurama episode? Maybe. A bunch of cartoons have done it. Batman Beyond had an episode. Terry's friend dates a robot. That was the name of the episode. It's an awesome episode. And it's like scary accurate. And that episode was made like probably over 10 years ago. But man, not looking forward to the future, that's for fucking sure. Nintendo made a few announcements, and that was pretty funny actually. The last, when I did my E3 streams and Nintendo made their announcements, that was when they announced Banjo-Kazooie and Smash Brothers. And my reaction was, oh. Oh, that's cool, I guess. That was my reaction. But what I didn't realize is that on a Smash Brothers character announcement, how you're supposed to react is this. Oh my god, Banjo! That's how I should have reacted. And I didn't react that way. I was just like, oh, that character's in Smash now. That's interesting. I don't understand this thing where you're supposed to just be like, you know, dumbfounded by fandom whenever you see one of these. Like, people are like, what? Is that all? That was your reaction, John? That's it? It's like, what am I supposed to do? You know? Like, yeah, I think it's cool that Banjo-Kazooie is in Smash Brothers, but, like, what's with all this, like, oh my god! People losing their shit. It's like, I'm not feeling it. I'm sorry. I don't feel the hype. Yeah, hyped. No, I'm not hyped. I'm just, yeah, it's cool. Don't really have much more to say than that. Yeah, so apparently my reaction to Nintendo stuff was underwhelming, but you know, what am I supposed to do? What else do I have here? These Disney movies that are coming out, like the live action versions of the cartoons that are like sucking. And it's like, fuck. I wrote that down thinking like that'll be interesting to talk about, but now that I'm here in front of the camera, it's like I'm not really feeling it. It's like I feel like people get it already, you know. The one funny thing I had written here, like, it was about The Lion King specifically, and how, like, I saw this review in the media of The Lion King, and it was shitting on The Lion King, not because of the fact that it was remade in CGI, like photoreal CGI, but it was like, it was shitting on the story of The Lion King itself. And the line that was used in the review was that Pride Rock is like a Trump Tower of the savannah. And it's like, holy fucking shit, dude. Like we've gotten to that point where something as basic as The Lion King in terms of storytelling can be like interpreted in that way, where it's like this, it's that oppressor narrative, right, that the left is so famous for, people on the political left, where it's like, you know, lions are at the top of the animal food chain, and they're at the top of Pride Rock, and they're the kings and the queens of the land. And it's like, that's being interpreted by some people on the left, like this reviewer, for instance, as like an oppressive thing, where it's like a resistance to this very fundamental idea of hierarchy. And the crux of the issue is whether it's an inherent part of our biological framework, or if it's something that's socially constructed and we should strive to demolish it. But it's like, I don't know. It's like, if I think the left is definitely going too far if they're attacking something like The Lion King, where, you know, for so long everybody fucking loves The Lion King, and then, you know, all of a sudden the remake comes out, and then people are shitting on it all of a sudden on the left, where it's just like, you know what? The Lion King is, maybe it's a vehicle for toxic masculinity all this time. Maybe it always was, and we just overlooked it. We weren't smart enough back then to realize the toxic message it was spreading. And now we're smart enough to realize it. It's like, if it's the same story, it's just everything is so politically charged now, and this idea of hierarchy, that there could be a food chain in the animal kingdom, that's somehow an oppressive thing that we need to combat. It's like, how the fuck do you combat that? That's just life, dude. You know? Anyway, I didn't want to talk too much on that, but I just thought that was a thing that I saw, and I read that review and I laughed out loud. I was like, wow, this is what it's gotten to. What else do I have written here? Did the inappropriate laughs thing, did the Epstein. I was reading some criticism and comments on my show recently. Some comments on my videos made me laugh, because, like, say like an episode that I make is dealing with a particular issue, right? And Arbiter will make an argument in the episode, and Chief will basically make a non-argument, where it's like he doesn't substantiate the reason he thinks the way he does at all. He'll just say something really vague and dumb, and then I'll see comments where it's like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm with Chief on this one. And it's like, with what? Chief doesn't have an argument. It's like he'll just say some. Chief's argument is like just saying something's gay. If he doesn't like something, he'll just be like, "Oh, that's gay," or "It's retarded." Or you know that line? It was in episode 13 of Arby and the Chief, where like there's this instance where Chief he's streaming Halo 5, right? And he's shitting on Halo 5, and he's like, I don't know, this game kind of sucks, but not really, but kind of. You guys know what I mean. And it's like, I wrote that to be intentionally as vague as possible, but there will be people in the comments who will be like, yeah, you know what? I agree with Chief. And it's like, agree with what? He didn't say anything. There's no argument of fucking substance in there. There's nothing to agree with. But it's like, yeah, you know what? Chief is right. It's like, this game kind of sucks, but not really. But kind of at the same time. But kind of not. And it's like people enjoy positioning themselves on arguments that are very ill-defined, you know? And it's like, rather than clearly articulate why it is they think the way they do, or, you know, clearly articulating their opinion on something, they would rather occupy this vague kind of foggy cloud of like emotion where it's like, I don't know how I feel, but this is how I feel about something, without going into any fucking detail. And it's like, that's not an argument. That's the joke I was making. How can people possibly fucking side with Chief when he's not making an argument on the thing? I don't know. That's just something I read, and I thought that was really funny. Oh, and I found this thread on 4chan's V board. Occasionally, I'll come across a thread on there where it's like, very rare. This doesn't happen often, but occasionally I'll go on that board and I'll see like there's a screen cap from my show, and I'll be like, oh, they're talking about me. I'll just click on that and see what they're saying. And I got to kind of like watch it with one eye open like this, kind of wincing, where it's just like, oh, I don't know what to expect here. Maybe they're shitting on me. Maybe they're saying I'm cool. I don't know. Because, you know, a lot of people, when they bring something up on 4chan, it's so they can tear it to shreds, right? And so I never have high hopes when I see a thread about me, where it's just like, oh, I hope this goes well. And so I'm reading like posts that are about me and my content, and it's just like, one guy was like, I follow him on Twitter, and I thought it was really cringe when he says Sanic memes and that he likes Big Chungus memes. And I was like, that's your problem with me? Of all fucking things that I've ever said and did, like, the thing you're hung up on is that I like Big Chungus memes? Who fucking gives a shit? I think Big Chungus is funny. I'm not just saying that because, like, oh, it's a Big Chungus reference. People will get that even though I don't care about it. Like, I say I like Big Chungus memes because I think Big Chungus is funny. You know what Big Chungus is, right? It's the fat Bugs Bunny image. It's like a screen cap of Bugs Bunny when he's like fat in a particular instance of a cartoon. And it's like somebody screen capped that, and then it has the caption of like, that's the meme. Like that image was made into a meme, and it's called Big Chungus. And it'll often be accompanied by like the Avengers theme, where it's so stupid, but it makes me laugh. Like every time I see it, I chuckle because there's just something about fat Bugs Bunny that I found humorous. But I'm not allowed to like Big Chungus. Apparently it's cringe. And it's like, I was reading this thread and I was irritated. I was like, why do people care what memes I like on Twitter? Who cares if I like Big Chungus? Is it a crime to like Big Chungus? Big Chungus is cringe. Well, I think Big Chungus is funny. Oh, so dumb. And Sonic, you know? It's like, yeah, I get Sonic is a dead meme now. It's old. But, like, I'm like a retro Sonic fan, and I still think Sonic memes are funny. So it's like, why can't I say I like Sonic memes on Twitter? Like, well, I mean, I can, but it's like there's going to be people out there who be like, oh, Sonic. I mean, that's so 2000 whatever. I mean, that's a dead meme. You really got to get with the times, man. It's like there's people who actually think like that. It's like that meme is dead. You're not allowed to like that meme anymore. Big Chungus, no. Sonic, no. Think again. That the time for those memes is over. It's all about the new memes now, whatever they are, and that changes every day because there's fucking new memes every day. And it's like, it's just, I couldn't believe how hung up people were on the memes that I liked. It's like, why can't I have my favorite memes, even if whether they're dead or not? Just because a meme is perceived to be dead by most people doesn't mean it doesn't make me laugh anymore. Whatever. I still like Big Chungus and I still like Sonic memes. I don't fucking give a shit. They make me ha. Sometimes they even make me lamau. Sometimes I even lamau. But most of the time I ha. Anyway. So that's my thoughts on that. And I got some more stuff here, but I think I kind of want to call it a night. I'm getting tired now, and we've been going for a while. I think what I would like to do... Yeah, we've been streaming for fucking how long? Probably a few hours now. I think I want to wrap it up by just... finishing off any super chats that are left, and then we'll do another podcast another day. I still want to do a few gaming streams. Actually, I want to do. Maybe we'll finish off Majora's Mask, and then I also want to do Until Dawn, that PS4 game. And apparently that developer has a new game like that just came out. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah. So yeah, I want to do another podcast soon, and then maybe a couple more gaming streams. And then I'm working on more Bytes episodes, and like I said, with Arby and the Chief, 814, still working on it, but I'm still waiting for voiceover. As soon as I get that voiceover, I can start releasing the episode in parts for the Patreon supporters. And when the whole episode is done, I'll put that out for everybody. Man of Medan, yeah, that was the game that just came out. Yeah. John Job, why do you underestimate the value of words? I don't think I do. When can we expect another stream? I don't know. I don't know what day specifically, but I want to do it. If I do another podcast, I want to do it within the next 2 weeks or so. We'll see. But let's go to the super chats. Let's finish those off. Jarrett says, oh no, I already read that one. But Jared also says, I haven't read this one yet. The issue with Rooster Teeth now is the main attraction originally was just a group of friends having fun, and now it's just all over that place with its content. You think that it's just because they're expanding? I mean, I don't know. I thought they were doing pretty good with expanding their content because they had, what's it? Rawuby, RWBY, however you say it. People were big fans of that. And Achievement Hunter and all that. I mean, that had a big following, didn't it? I thought they were doing well with their content expansion. But I guess it's possible to expand too much, certainly. Maybe they lost focus on what it was that made them so charming in the first place, which is just a bunch of guys playing Halo together. And I'm still that, essentially. Like, I haven't expanded. I don't have a big business, but I'm still doing my thing. I'm doing pretty well, but I'm basically just a guy in his house playing Halo still. I don't play Halo recreationally that often, but you know, I'm on Halo for making movies and stuff. So I guess, you know, my fans like me because I'm just, at the end of the day, I'm still one guy. I'm not a part of a team, and I say what I think, and I'm not filtered. But I recognize the responsibility in that. You know what I mean? Like, just because I can say anything because I'm just independent doesn't mean that I should say everything. But I feel like I should say whatever I think is true, right? Even if I'm wrong. If I think it's true, I'll say it. And then anyone out there is free to say why I'm wrong, you know? That's the beauty of free speech, right? I can say whatever I want. Anybody else is free to respond and explain why I'm wrong or why I'm right or whatever, right? Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Rooster Teeth, but I hope they repair their image and they, you know, I hope they dig themselves out of this little weird hole they're in, because I think they're genuinely nice guys, and I want them to succeed. Oh yeah, the copy pasta. Yeah. I'll read that before I leave. Sure. Thank you, Jarrett. Ryan Kowalski says, "Yo, John, I read Jordan Peterson's book 12 Rules. I saw a part in chapter 6 that seemed related to Adam. Was curious if you based anything in there for Adam." I started reading that book, but I haven't finished it yet, so I don't really know what it is in chapter 6 that you're referring to, but there probably is something in there that applies, certainly. I mean, well, I'll see when I get to that part in the book myself. I'll have a look for whatever it is you might be talking about, and I'll see if anything relates to the character. But you're probably right. There probably is something in there that relates, because it's like that. I did consciously incorporate this Jungian philosophy in season 8 of Arby and the Chief, and that's something that Peterson talks about a lot, is Carl Jung and Nietzsche, and that, you know, the Taoism and the shadow and the integration of the shadow and the balance between order and chaos and all that. I mean, those are certainly present in season 8. I just don't know. I don't know what it is you're specifically referring to in Peterson's book, but I'll keep an eye out for that, whatever it might be. Thanks, Ryan. Jose says, "Job, your thoughts on Halo Master Chief Collection on Steam?" People are impatient for it. I think they're 343 said they're working on it, but it's taken a while. Just like I am with season 8. People are fucking waiting on me to finish the fucking thing. And fans are waiting for Master Chief Collection and Reach to come out, and it's still not out yet, but I mean, I think it's cool. I don't know what people have against it, if anything. I might even start using, like, for making movies and stuff, I use the Xbox version of Reach, obviously, because there is only the Xbox version. But once Reach comes out on PC, I'm gonna have a look at it and see if I can use that rather than the console version, but make it look like, as long as it doesn't look any different than it always has, then I can just use the PC version instead. But if there's going to be any kind of visual difference where, if assets are rendered differently, where it's just like I can tell this isn't the Xbox anymore, I probably won't do that. But if it's seamless, then maybe I'll just use the PC version if it's easier, because then maybe I won't have to do the whole like 4 controllers thing where I'm operating 4 controllers at once. Like maybe there's an easier way to do it on PC. I don't know. And then that opens up the gates to like modded content where you can have like, a shitload of NPCs and custom maps and shit. Like I know Reach on Xbox already has Forge mode, but I mean like PC custom maps where there's a way more flexibility in terms of what you can create. It's not just the generic like Forge blocks and walls thing, Like you can do a lot more with PC. You can create walls and floor assets from scratch and throw your own textures in there, and you're not limited by the amount of RAM that the console has, like or a Forge budget or anything like that. So I don't know. Once it comes out, I'll have a look at it. But I mean, it seems cool to me to have the Master Chief Collection on Steam. Like, why not? Thank you, Jose. Lord Xanthar the Allen says, get Chief to make a TikTok video. I've heard of TikTok, but I don't know what it is. Is it something like Snapchat or something where I have no idea. I'm gonna sound like an idiot if I try to define it, but I'll look into what TikTok is, and then I'll think about it. It's Vine, but even gayer. Oh, it's gay, is it? I didn't realize. A gay version of Vine. Got it. VS12 says El Camino. Yes, the Breaking Bad movie that's coming out. I'm very excited for that. October 11th. Breaking Bad movie featuring Jesse after the end of season 5. I'm stoked. Thank you, VS12. Thank you, Xanthar. Tally Zora Vas Normandy says, never trust AI or robots. They'll kill us all. Probably. Thanks, man. Nerdy Guy says, John, you make me Raffle-Mao. You make me Rolf Mao. I'm glad I make you Rolf Mao. Did you guys all Rolf Mao today? I hope so. And Nerdy Guy also says, you make me Rolf Mao to where I'm not sad. Oh. Well, you shouldn't be sad. I know that feel, man. You shouldn't be sad. I've been sad, and I know it's hard to be happy these days, but you really got to make the effort. Because, a lot of the things that it's easy to get sad about, they're outside of your control, and you can't let everything outside of your control get you down, because then you'll never be happy, and that's no way to live. You got to learn to laugh at things. You got to learn to smile. Be happy, Nerdy Guy. And thank you. I appreciate your support there. And Ethan McGregor says, have you seen Bill Burr's new special? Yes, I loved it. I loved Bill's special. I loved Chappelle's special. I thought they were both great. Laughed my ass off. I think what's going on with Rotten Tomatoes right now is such bullshit. I think their critics' ratings are so skewed towards like PC culture, where you have this a situation like Chappelle's special, where at one point it was like 0% Rotten Tomatoes critics reviews, but like 99% positive when it comes to the audience reviews. And the critics reviews have climbed higher than 0 for Chappelle's special, but it's still only like 30-something%, and that's out of a total of like 16 critics reviews. And it's like, there's only 16? Like, where the fuck are the rest of them? There can't just be 16. Are you fucking kidding me? So it's just like, are they picking and choosing just the negative ones? Like, are they leaving the positive ones out? Because not Rooster Teeth. I said Rooster Teeth because it's RT. It's Rotten Tomatoes, I meant. Is Rotten Tomatoes doing it because they want a virtue signal and they want to, like, yeah, fuck Chappelle for, like, being anti-trans or whatever. He's not even anti-trans, but it's being perceived that way, where it's like he's making jokes about trans people, therefore he's anti-trans, which is like totally the wrong thing to take from that. You make jokes about anybody and anything. That's the way it should be, right? But this PC thing is so determined to be like, this is where the line is, and you can't make anything beyond this line. Or you can't make fun of anything beyond this line. And it's like, says who? You? Who made you the fucking arbiter of what's okay to joke about and what isn't? It's so dumb. Anyway, I don't know what the fuck's going on. We're living in crazy times right now. Thank you, Ethan McGregor. H Doom says, John, don't just stare at it, eat it, Graham. What is that, referring to my dick or something? Or my ass? I don't know, man. Thanks, H Doom. Chris Mayan says, John, listen to the season 6 main theme remix, maybe. Yeah, I know the melody you're talking about. I'll think about it. I do like that melody. Maybe I can do something new with that, but I'd rather, for the most part, I'd just rather make new tracks. I want to make that chill out beach synthwave album I was talking about at the beginning of this podcast. I want to just make a whole album that's just like chill out tunes for playing in your car when you're driving at night or when you're just chilling on the beach. You know, I want to make a bunch of tracks for that mood. Anyway, thanks, Chris. Brandon Vancour says, you ever listen to Joey Diaz? Yeah, man. I love Joey Diaz. He's great. He's the voice of a generation, man. He's like that authentic, like, growing up in the Bronx, the voice of a generation, where it's like, once, if he dies, it's like nobody can fill that void, man. It's like Joey Diaz is Joey Diaz. No, there's no one else who can be him, you know. And he's funny as hell. And I have very fond memories of last Christmas. I was at my mom's house for the holidays, and I was by myself. It was Christmas Eve. It was really late at night, and I played Joe Rogan's Christmas Eve podcast with Joey Diaz, and I watched that for 3 hours or however long they went for. But it was like a Christmas Eve podcast with Joey Diaz, and I remember it was dark outside, the snow's falling, it was really quiet. Christmas is tomorrow, but for now it's just like really quiet and serene. And I really enjoyed that night. And I think I was playing my PSP at the same time, and I just had a really good night that night. It was a great ambience. And I love a good podcast, you know. Anyway, thank you, Brandon. I'm a big fan. And Kiro says, "Hi, John. What's your thoughts on all the Cortana feet memes?" I don't know, dude. The feet thing just is weird to me, but there's all kinds of... I mean, if the internet teaches you anything, it teaches you that there's all kinds of people out there who are into all kinds of freaky shit. And it's not, none of it's necessary. It's not all necessarily good or bad, or distasteful or tasteful or whatever. It's just like, that's what they're into. That's what gets them off. And it's like, if you're not hurting anybody and it's not like child porn or anything like that, then whatever, man, you do you. But I'm not like a foot person. I don't get it. I think feet are kind of gross. I don't see the appeal. Anyway, those are the super chats. I'm gonna have a quick look at the Streamlabs thing, see if I missed anything. Nope, we're all caught up. So thank you for everybody for the support. And really means a lot, and it really helps out. So thank you for that. Oh, and there's one more. CB Gog says, "John, that album concept sounds dope." Oh, thanks, dude. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I mean, I don't know when I'm going to finish it. I mean, that's making like 10 or 12 tracks at least for the album. It's a lot of work. I mean, I don't know when I'm going to finish it, but I'll work on it now and then, and we'll see where I am with it in a few months' time. But it's something that I would like to work on. So, but as we all know, I've got enough work on my plate already with season 8 and Arby and the Chief Bytes and the podcast and all that. So when I find time, I'll work on it. Okay. So thank you, everyone, once again. I hope that was a good podcast. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you guys liked that Bytes episode. Thank you very much for tuning in. And thank you for the support. I hope it wasn't too boring. I hope you got a few laughs out of this. And I hope you'll tune in the next time I do this. And whenever I make a new thing, a new Bytes, I want to be able to show it to you guys. And like when part A of 814 is done, I'll show you guys that on a stream as well. So there's that, and then any new Bytes that I make, or the full episode 814 when it's done, I'll premiere that whole thing live. And yeah, and more good times will be had. So hopefully you guys tune in for that. Thanks so much, everybody. All right, I'm going to quit now. I hope that's okay. I'm just gonna play the credits for did that even show up? What the fuck is going on here? Okay, there we go. I think you guys can see that. So it's just a little credits reel that I rendered, so everybody can see the names of all the people who support me on Patreon at the $20 tier. That's the if you want your name, if you want an on-screen producer credit. So thank you to all the heroes who keep me afloat and let me earn a living doing what it is I'm good at and I like to do. Really appreciate all the support that I get. The show wouldn't exist without you guys. My channel wouldn't exist without you guys. So, patreon.com/JCJGraham if you want to help me out. go to my website, imaginativelogo.com. That's where you'll find all my content. Subscribe to me on YouTube and SoundCloud and all that. My Twitch is there, but I'm not really on Twitch a lot, but I just list it there anyway, just in case I ever do something. Feel free to shoot me an email if you've got something to tell me. And oh yeah, there's the copy pasta thing. Fuck. Keep forgetting. So many fucking things. You know what? I don't have the email ready right now, but I'll have it ready for next time. I had so much else to do today in terms of fixing podcast shit, like little Photoshop and Premiere and rendering stuff and tweaking things in Streamlabs and the camera and rewiring things. Like, I had too much on my plate today, so I'll do the fan submissions next time. Okay? And I'll try to have those emails ready to just go through right away, because right now I got to do some digging, and I'm too tired. I want to sit with a coffee and then maybe write a little bit and then go to bed at a decent hour. Wake up, and then tomorrow morning I'm probably going to do some editing. I'm probably going to edit 8:14 a little bit more. Fair enough? Thanks so much, everybody. And have a good night. Thank you, everybody.